Hi everyone, I'm Jude Hotep, the goddess astrologer and alchemical initiatrix. I am a professional astrologer and a master soul coach. And so as such, I've been working with clients and one-to-one coaching for 10 plus years. I've been doing research and development in metaphysics and astrology and self-development, psychology, ancient wisdom, mystics, the mystical studies, and so on for over 34 years. And I am someone who works to bring unique understandings forward to help the collective move forward in our evolution as humanity, to help us to empower ourselves, be empowered, particularly as women, and to step into our empowerment and out of the learned helplessness and the victimhood that we have been trained and conditioned to be subjected to perpetuate ourselves, and to move out of this patriarchy dominator culture into the new time where humanity is no longer under domination and control of others, but is within our own empowerment within ourselves, leaders amongst leaders. And so I do individual astrology readings, I do one-on-one coaching, and then She Alchemy is open and where you can get some hot seat coaching in female community with others and really work to heal and awaken and align together within female community with other people. So really happy to share about the Scorpio Lunar Eclipse with you. We're going to go deep into the chart of this eclipse, and we're going to go into your sun sign horoscopes for all 12 signs. You can look at your rising sign, because that will show you how this eclipse is going to affect you if I was looking at your natal birth chart. And then I encourage you to look at your sun sign, because that's your solar chart. And those two together can give you an amazing understanding of the deeper ways that this eclipse is affecting you personally. So we're going to get into that and some oracle card reading. Love pulling cards for you. This eclipse is happening on May 5th, 2023. It's a lunar eclipse. We are deep into eclipse season. It's a time where often about a month before plus to a month on the other side of the eclipses, you can really feel this gravity. You can feel life impacting you in a greater and greater way, and really feel this acuteness of life where everything is heightened. Your situations and circumstances are intensifying, and there's an acuteness, a sharpness to all of your experiences, people's reactions, your internal world and emotional world, and others as well. And so we are deep into eclipse season, and we just had this solar eclipse, which eclipses cut away. They end old chapters. They take things out of our lives, remove things out of our lives. So a lot of people pass on during eclipses. A lot of animals move on during eclipses. People move out of our lives. We end relationships. We begin new chapters, and we cut away from old energies, old internal orientations, and move into new places within ourselves. And so this has been incredibly acute eclipse cycle for everyone I know. It's going through massive, big things, big changes, massive shifts, and big endings. And so as such, you might be going through grief. You might be going through all of the emotions at once, cascading through your system on a day-to-day basis. You may be in anywhere on that spectrum. So let's just go ahead and pull up the chart. And there's a lot of great things I'd like to share with you. So we'll get into this. It's happening May 5th, 2023 at 12:34 p.m. Central Time. Adjust for your time zone. And I'm speaking from the US, so adjust for your area of the world. This eclipse is a Scorpio lunar eclipse. So it's opposite the sun. It's a full moon. The sun at 14 degrees Taurus and the moon at 14 degrees Scorpio. And just having talked to the South Node in Apollon, and then moving off that at the 14-degree mark, it's a full moon. Often full moons are times of fruition, a peaking of the moon, an illumination of so much that we've gone through, from the balsamic phase to the new moon to the waxing moon, and then getting to that full moon. And full moons can be a time to actually cut away from things, because now you can see so much, everything's illuminated. And things are often sharp and acute during full moons, they're intensified, and so you see so much more. So then you're ready for that metamorphosis. You're ready to cut away from the old that's not serving your growth anymore, and to move into new storylines. With this being a lunar eclipse, even more so, we're cutting away. Even more so, the acuteness and the sharpness being Scorpio eclipse. Scorpio is forensic. It is interrogative. It's very incisive. And as such, this eclipse is much more acute. So definitely look inside and look to your world. I'm sure you know where this is affecting you at, and how it's been affecting you, what's coming to an end, what's been provoked, what big storms and psychodramas have perhaps come up. You have had choice points in this eclipse cycle. So there are choices going on here, big choices that have to do with your evolution, but the evolution of humanity, because together, all of us individually making choices together are making the greater choice of humanity's evolution. And so there is so much fixed energy in this eclipse, in the sky during this eclipse. There is so much water energy, and one of the planetary rulers of this eclipse is Mars in Cancer, water sign. This eclipse is in fixed water, Scorpio. And there's that there is the movement to, just do this here. So speaking about the water in the chart, we have the moon trine Mars, and Mars trine and Mars trine Neptune. So we have this water in the chart. We have this triad activated of the Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. So the Scorpio, the Pisces, and this Cancer here. And so these trines, and we have this water activated the soul, the feminine. So there's so much feminine energy in this chart. This is really activating, and the universe has been speaking so loudly to us about soul, about, it's a hermetic principle that, as in the universe, so in the soul, as in the soul, so in the universe. And that the water principle is our emotional seascape, our intuition, to move to a population that is motivated by our intuition, that is moment to moment, moment to moment. And so Neptune in Pisces is bringing us back to our consciousness, orientated back to soul in the moment, back to what is our soul telling us? What is our intuition, Pisces, telling us? What is the data that we're getting from all the other dimensions, being multidimensional beings, Pisces? And so Neptune is orientating the collective consciousness back to, for a very long period of time now, back to being multidimensional beings. And we have this Scorpio of fixed water breaking open, and understanding the issues that we feel, the insecurities and the inadequacies that we feel. It's so important right now to really look at where we feel inadequate, where we feel insecure, and to understand how we are trying to make ourselves feel secure, because this is what is going to allow us to really change and grow, which is going to change and shift the world. as we individually change and grow. You can see there's an explosion of people healing, of healing techniques flooding the internet, of somatics, people getting back into their body, the feminine, getting back embodied into the breath, into the present moment right now. Neptune is the eternal now, and it's orientated towards soul. And so it's orientated towards our higher consciousness, or towards unconditional love, towards compassion, towards these qualities of guided from within, guided moment to moment, moment to moment, moment to moment, anicca, anicca, anicca. And so this ruler of this eclipse, one of the two, Mars, is in Cancer, where conjunct the north node of Pluto. All of the planets have a north node and a south node as well. So when I say the north node, south node, I'm talking about the nodes of the moon. And I'll just say north node, south node. But when I'm talking about the north node of a planet, I'll say Pluto's north node, or Pluto north node. And so that you hopefully can understand the difference. But all of the planets have nodes. They have a north node and a south node. And so Pluto's north node right here by this little baby Pluto, it's so cute, it's so adorable. Baby Pluto, all the planets have little babies. Okay, so so this north node of Pluto in Cancer, everyone that is alive today has their personal north node of Pluto in Cancer. And so we have this Pluto north node in Cancer conjunct Mars, conjunct Lilith in Cancer, all in Cancer. And Lilith is retrograde in Cancer. And so there is this understanding of nurturance Cancer and security Cancer. How do we feel secure? Can we nurture ourselves moment to moment to moment, not relying on what we once relied upon for security, externals, a house, money, cars, status, control, all of these things that actually are now at a point where they've stunted our growth, and we can no longer grow and no longer evolve if our sense of security is outside of ourselves. And understanding that individually of what it is for you based upon your specific makeup, your chart, helps us all individually to reclaim our sense of security from within, moment to moment, being in a consciousness that responds as each moment unravels. And these last 3 years have really helped us with Uranus and Taurus here to break away from what we thought we needed, and that fixed earth that we thought we needed different things. So the shortages and the supply chain being disrupted. It was a really powerful, important growth for humanity to go through, no matter hard, to break up what you think you need. We have Depression era thinking still in place that we have to save and hoard and prep and prepare in all of these ways. But are you able to Taurus self-sustain yourself, to MacGyver it up, to handle any situation, any circumstance, moment to moment to moment? Or do you need things? And if you don't have those things and they're out, then what do you do? Will you be secure? Will you be able to handle it emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically, tangibly in the world? So important that we've been going through this growth to evolve from saving instead of just procuring in the moment, acting in the moment, doing what we need. So this is a different way to live. We're evolving as humanity to live in a different way off of the old time and space systems of Capricorn, Pluto destroying and metamorphosing whatever it goes through. And it's been going through Capricorn for so long. And so then it has been moving these old structures, these old definitions of the way we do life, because Capricorn is definition, and these old limitations of life, because there's all these rules of how it's supposed to be lived, what lines you're supposed to color in between Capricorn. And so Pluto has been bringing up all the secrets to that, Pluto has been churning up all of the evidence of the patriarchy and just putting it all in our face. So if we didn't know it before, we know it now. It's everywhere. You cannot deny it, and has been breaking down all those structures and metamorphosing our world as we once have known it. And we can't move into the Aquarian age until we all move into the Aquarian age. So it's all of us individually, collectively moving into the Aquarian age, which means new beliefs, new thoughts, because it is our reality that we create with our belief systems. And that's what we value. So this Cancer, this Mars is cutting away in Cancer and motivated by intuition, motivated by nurturing. How can we nurture ourselves through the insecurity we might feel at all of our structures and ways we once lived life, altering and shifting in dramatic, accelerated ways? Because this Scorpio lunar eclipse is opposite Uranus, and Uranus accelerates whatever it touches. And so it's accelerating our breaking away of the Scorpio issues and shadows that are being revealed during this whole eclipse season, and particularly with this eclipse. So you'll see this unfolding in your life over the weeks to come, of all of the secrets being revealed, of our psyches being opened up, and all of it coming forward. You'll see the resentments for people in your relationship from 10 years ago that they never talked to you about at the time it happened, so you could work through it. And you're like, wow, you just resented me all this time. Gosh, we could have worked through that. And now our relationship's ending. Bye-bye. So you can go through your life and see, like, what is happening, what is the secrets of what was really going on in that relationship, and the information people were withholding from us. And all of these aspects are being revealed through this eclipse tunnel. And Uranus is accelerating the healing of the darkness. And with Scorpio, and with the nature of our world, the patriarchy and the dominator culture, and the suppression of the feminine, and the dark depravity of humans, we have a lot to heal, a lot of really dark, toxic, nasty stuff. Rape, molestation, child pornography, child sex trafficking, murders, narcissistic abuse being normalized in our world, manipulation, subtext, having been habituated to the abuse as a culture, as humanity for 5,000 years. We're having to wake up from how we have been perpetuating it, how we have rolled over and let our tummies show, not acting on our own behalf, fawning and appeasing and placating the narcissists and the abusers and the sociopaths and the psychopaths that have been at the helm, and how we've been actually doing that behavior ourselves, trained by them how to behave, trained by them how to climb the ladders, how to get ahead, how to get status, money, prestige, power, control, and thus behaving that way ourselves, even though we're not necessarily the narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths. And hopefully we're all individually waking up from our own areas of abuses, however micro or macro. We have to face this stuff. We have to face the emotions. Water, Neptune, Mars, and the moon, all in water. This chart is so filled with water. There's so much in water. And we have to face our emotions, because our emotions is how we heal everything and anything. It's by feeling. It's only a sociopath that does not feel. So if you're not feeling, then that's the spectrum where you're at. You're closer to the sociopaths. And if you're here, you're not a sociopath. So feel your emotions. Don't intellectualize them. That's that Gemini energy. That's that Capricorn wanting to be stoic and climb the mountain energy. We have to realize Pluto's south node is in Capricorn. We need to move away from being stoic, that Russian stoicism, that that just we just plow through, we just push through, and don't honor how we feel. We don't honor grief. We don't honor time off. We don't honor our bodies. We need to, and everyone, if you look out there in the world, everyone is saying enough of this shit. I am honoring my body. I am listening to what my body needs, which might be a nap. It might be rest. It might just be staring at the wall and twiddling my thumbs and not having constant input. and just needing to let some creative flow bloom and pulsate through my system. I might need walks in nature. I might need so much time in the sun and walks and showers and love and connection and creativity and flow and nourishing meals. What, like, the whole world is waking up to saying, what have we been doing? Not having time off. What have I been working for? Are you just doing the eat, work, entertainment, sleep cycle? Is that what you're doing? That's not life. And that is not what we're here to do, which is to evolve. We're evolving as humanity. And so with Lilith here, Lilith is about where she would rather be alone. She will, she is demonized for wanting equality and partnership, period. She won't accept anything less than equality and healthy partnership. So where is the Scorpio secrets being revealed of where it hasn't been healthy partnership? Maybe you're finding that out in relationships suddenly out of the blue, because eclipses bring everything to light and cut away everything it's done. Its time has ended. It's not allowing for further growth in your life. Grow or die, Pluto says. And so this Scorpio archetype of cutting away, Mars cuts away. Mars is surgery. And so with Lilith, it's like cutting away from those that demonized you for wanting equality, for wanting health, for wanting something wholesome and loving and positive. And Lilith is where there may be anger and rage from the abuses, from female babies being killed in China, from animals being abused, children being abused, yourself being abused, your inner child not being protected. Have you been protecting your inner child? There are times and moments when I've seen it on someone else's face in a situation, or I myself have felt where my inner child is really feeling vulnerable. It's not me, but it's in there. And it's like, oh, and she just needs protection. And so I have to come in within myself and say, look, I got you. I'm not going to let you be subjected to this situation any longer, and maneuver out of this situation. And she alerts me to abuses. She alerts me to things that are trespasses of soul, that is just not okay. I know for myself, I do not tolerate patriarchy, abuse, emotional manipulation, people that don't want to grow and be healthy. It's not that I don't give people chances and work with people and try. I'm Taurus and Venus, like, of course, like I try hard with people, but I have zero tolerance policy anymore in my life for people that don't want to grow and evolve and aren't going to own their shit and do the inner work. And if people are trigger projecting onto me and just can't communicate well and can't own their own shit, and or any of these types of things, or anybody's being abusive or whatever it is, out, cut, Mars. It's just gone. I just don't have zero tolerance policy. Where are you at with that? Are you still allowing narcissists to be in your life? Are you still allowing abusers, emotional manipulators? Are you recognizing them? Do you recognize abuse? Because here's the thing about Scorpio. Scorpio is psychology. And, we're talking about Scorpio shadow. So it's all the psychodramas, it's all the manipulation, the subtext, all of the underneath stuff, the underbelly of Scorpio, the manipulation and the use, like using people and manipulating people. Here's something that's a manipulation. I've been talking a lot in the videos recently about speaking your no and yes, and speaking up for what isn't transparent, for what's not being done well, for what needs to be done better, for what somebody's not seeing. I think I've told you about, I was pulled into a store and a kid was locked, a 3-year-old or something. I don't know how old the kid was, but it definitely wasn't above like 5, and locked in a car on a TV at a store. I absolutely spoke up and made a massive production of, we need to get something done here, and this is what we need to get done here, because it was 30-year-olds at the store that couldn't think through the situation and what really needed to be done to give this parent a wake-up call so they're not doing this shit. What if it had been 90 degrees? I mean, it's beyond. And I have always spoke up in my life. And so it has, I've been demonized, been alienated, all those things. We face that speaking up. Here's the thing. When you don't speak your no, it is a form of manipulation. Maybe not intentional or malicious, but it's a form of manipulation because you're leaving everything just hanging out there. And people do that stuff on purpose. Narcissists dangle carrots of the future. It's, oh, we're going to do this in the future. We're going to do this in the future. We're going to do this in the future. Narcissists will do that kind of abuse. And it's constant manipulation, of course. And so we have to realize where we are psychologically dysfunctional and start to heal our own shit. We have to look at our own shit, our own shadow, and face that stuff. What are you letting your brain do in there? You are in control of your thoughts. You are in control of your thoughts, but are you in control of your thoughts and of your feelings? It doesn't mean that you won't have unintentional thoughts and feelings, of course, but it means like once you have them, then what are you doing? Are you letting your brain be in the driver's seat of your life? And so this Lilith here is massive, and Lilith has this trine to Neptune about the feminine within all of humanity. Doesn't matter what biological sex you are or how you identify with gender. It's this the feminine no longer being suppressed. So that principle of the feminine, the gentleness, the connection to emotions, we're retrieving that with this Pluto North Node of Cancer. We're retrieving the feminine and this interconnectedness with all of life, this interconnection to the celestial, to the earth, to all of life, because all of life is living. The solar system is living, the planets are living, concrete is living, rocks are living. It's all living. You live in a living universe. And so as such, we're retrieving our connection to all of life, that during goddess culture times, war was nearly fear. Rather, there was no war. Fear was nearly eradicated. We were evolving. That's where all of our modern technology comes from. That is where architecture, indoor plumbing comes from. That is where that comes from, is from goddess culture times, Paleolithic and Neolithic era. And so we're retrieving the wisdom of what we knew then and how we lived, and the wisdom of indigenous peoples, what they still know. And they're the wisdom keepers on this earth at this time, still keeping the wisdom, and the shamans amongst us. I'm a female shaman, that shamanic understanding of life, of experience, of wisdom, of moment to moment to moment acting as needed, and hearing and listening to all of the communication around us at any given time. We have to understand that there's layers to emotions, that emotions, we were talking about all this water in the chart, that emotions are information and data. And more people are doing this sensitivity HSP thing, high sensitive person. Here's the thing, what it really is. It's half trauma and it's half you being aware. You're not more sensitive. You always had access to this data all around you at all times, but you are now more aware of it. You are awakening to greater and greater awareness to what you were always sensitive to, aware of. The data coming in, the input, which is our emotions, but often the emotions that we're getting that are data emotions, telling us what the other person's thinking, feeling, telling us what is the energy of the room or the area, telling us what has been here before, telling us all of this information that we're constantly getting, and how aware you are, how awake you are, how psychic you are, is how much you can understand that data and interpret it correctly, versus through bias and your own lenses and not interpreting it correctly, is based upon how well you're developing those faculties and connecting to it. But also a lot of people are really triggered, and I went through these phases where I was triggered by all that data. It triggered me, it upset me, it provoked me. It was so much. And so we have to understand there's our emotions, and then there's emotions that are data, and there's so much there that is really fun to work with, to really grow, to grow your gifts, to grow your faculties that we have access to at this time. Uranus is awakening the human population, so you can awaken all of your psychic faculties and gifts and intuition and awareness and be connected once again to the interconnectedness of all of life, all of the universe that is a living universe, a living world we live in, and get the data at any given time. You know, the leaves turning upside down, rain's coming. You might want to walk back to your car so you don't get rained on. The way the animals move out of an area, somebody's coming from this area. The way smoke, you know, is it white smoke or black smoke, fresh or the fire's out? We read the signs of the energies, and so we have to understand that there is humanity is evolving through all of these changes and shifts, and it is provoking us and provoking so much insecurity and so much fluctuation of feeling adequate. The inferiority superiority issues are rampant. They're so acute right now on the planet, and there's this, you know, quincunx from this Scorpio lunar eclipse to Jupiter. Jupiter is our beliefs in Aries. We started this new 12-year cycle when Jupiter went into Aries and last year, and I think at the end of 2021, right? I can't quite remember exact off the top of my head, but Jupiter will be moving out of Aries soon into Taurus, and Aries is that autonomy, sovereignty, our independence, our own self, our own identity, our own who we are-ness, our own I am, that is not based upon what somebody else says is the right way or the way or good or better or best, etc., all the superlatives. So this quincunx is understanding this inadequacy that we feel inside ourselves and all these belief systems that just aren't adding up anymore. They're just not adding up. And understanding this lack within us of possibly Scorpio psychological health or like emotional stability, emotional mastery, realizing that lack of emotional mastery. Are you working on emotional mastery every day? Because it's a lifestyle. It is our work from now until you die in this life to gain emotional mastery. And it gets so fun because we start to realize where we don't get triggered by emotions anymore. And we realize that they're just data. And then we realize our personal emotions versus the emotions that are just the data emotions and aren't not our personal emotions, and really gaining in our skill set with psychic and intuitive gifts and abilities, the faculties that we have access to develop and cultivate if they're not turning on naturally for you. So, and they probably are. That's what this sensitivity HSP thing is. And it's also trauma. We have to realize that trauma is what we are tasked with. And so many people have woken up and are healing the trauma and doing the healing stuff, realizing that the answer is the healing. The answer is to have the amazing life you want, to do the evolutionary purpose of your own soul that your soul came in here to do, that if you're not doing it, brings calamity and disasters and catastrophic car accidents and just shit in our life that sucks. And so if you're working with your chart and your evolutionary intent, the purpose of why you came in at all as a soul and are here, if you work with that consciously, then the better life you get to have and create for yourself. And so we're doing that healing. So many people are waking up to doing that healing, but we have to face so much. Here's the thing. Understand that, let's take the emotion of inadequacy, because there's so much about it in this chart, and it's just so up in the collective so much. And let's just look at inadequacy, because inadequacy is an emotion, and we can look at it through the lens in a couple of different ways. But if we look at it as an emotion, what you realize is that I can release this emotion. I can identify it in the moment that it's happening, and then I can release it, which means that you have so much empowerment to grab a hold of for yourself. Working with your emotions is absolutely one of the most empowering things that you will ever do in your life. So here's the thing. Say you feel inadequate. but you don't catch it. You've never worked through that lens. You've never worked with emotions in this way. You're not really working on emotional mastery. We're not taught this growing up. We're not really taught this very many places unless you got lucky somewhere or came across it yourself. And then once you do come across the information, like how do you apply it to your life? How do you actually apply it moment to moment, day to day in your life to actually cultivate and develop emotional mastery? And why is it so important? Here's why it's so important. Emotions drive behavior. So if you have emotions of insecurity, lack, doubt, unworthiness, and inadequacy driving your behaviors in the background unconsciously, then what behaviors are you most likely going to be acting out? The behaviors of not believing in yourself, not stepping into greater visibility, greater revenue, not putting your work out into the world as a divine feminine soulpreneur, not stepping into greater empowerment and standing up and speaking your no and yes, letting yourself being walked all over, staying in shitty relationships, not demanding yourself being valued. I have no one in my life that doesn't value me. If they don't uplift me, encourage me, support me, value me, want to grow with me, want to work through things, want to communicate well, want to be functional, healthy, etc., and want a big wild life, not in my life. What about you? Because so many of us I used to keep people in my life that were dastardly, horrible, abusive fucking people. And I just kept them in my life, and I kept them in my life. Or I kept just low level, not so obviously detrimental, but just low level kind of detrimental people in my life where they're just like resenting me or were dysfunctional and wouldn't talk through things and work through things. It's like, if there's a problem, let's fucking talk about it and work through it. But just to be in the dysfunction or to have drama and chaos, or you always want to be in social conflict or starting something, I don't want that. I don't want that in my life. That's stressful, and I'm good on that. Nah. So I have to realize that emotions drive behaviors. So if you're feeling those emotions, it's going to drive those behaviors. But if you're feeling confident and worthy and you value yourself and you're feeling inspired and lit up and sparked with joy, then what does that drive? What behaviors does that drive? You step into greater power. You're willing to be courageous to do something that makes you feel vulnerable and speak on stage, or do something new in your business, or step to the next level of visibility or confidence or speaking, or do some monumental big project that you have in your vision that you're a little scared to do, but you're like, let's do this. Let's go for this challenge. And you do challenging things and you grow and evolve and you push to the edge and you keep looking for, what am I capable of? What am I capable of? Do you know the edge of your capability? Because I bet you don't. I bet you do not know the edge of what you are actually capable of, because that's scary. But big lives take big emotions, and everybody, we've been sold to have this big life. Well, do you really want that big life? Because it takes going through the emotions. So here's the thing. If you're feeling inadequate and you want to you want to do these big things in your life, and then you don't catch that emotion, well, then you're already in the behaviors that inadequacy causes for you. Most likely shrinking, not doing the project, not doing the thing, most likely like tamping down your joy and your light, not speaking up, not doing challenging things that scare you. And so you can see what inadequacy causes. But if you look at inadequacy just like an emotion, because it is, and realize that you can actually start identifying when you have inadequacy, that's the first step. Begin identifying it. Oh, this is that inadequacy. I'm just feeling it so much right now. Oh, feels icky, feels, here's the thing about emotions. This will help you so much. Emotions make it seem true. What does it make seem true? All the stories, all of that evidence, supposed evidence. Our brain doesn't care. It's a soft computer. It's a biological computer. It doesn't care what it proves true. It's just going to prove whatever thought you're thinking true. It's going to give you all the information from the past and make you behave in ways to collect new information from the future to say, look, here's all the corroborating evidence that this is true, when it's not true. All those stories and those narratives and those thoughts are not true. But when you feel an emotion, it makes those stories and thoughts and evidences seem true. This is so powerful, because then you realize why you resist dealing with your emotions. Because when you feel those emotions and you go into them and you start to look with them and work with them, you're like, oh my God, this feels like I'm a piece of shit. I'm unworthy. I'm horrible. All the things people said about me are all true, when it's not true. It's just an emotion. So if you can start identifying that emotion, and then the next step is to learn how to release it. And if you would like to walk down this journey of absolutely feminine power, feminine empowerment, and step into the highest echelons of keep pushing the edge of what you're capable of, keep learning, what am I capable of? There's two ways that you can do that. You can work with me in one-to-one coaching, or you can come into She Alchemy, where we work together in female community to all heal and grow together. And you can get in the hot seat and get coached by me, and you can watch others be coached, and it is powerful shifts and changes, and I teach, and it is so amazing. So two ways you can do that. You can go look for those on thegoddessastrologer.com. So inadequacy, it's such a powerful emotion to begin working with and releasing. So identify it, start identifying it, start to be willing to feel any of your emotions, and tell your brain, no, it doesn't make any of the stories true. It's just an emotion. This is how you reclaim your power. This is a reclamation of power. And so Mars, the planetary ruler, the dispositor of this eclipse, is cutting away from all that's not nurturing, all that's not the intuitive, the toxic masculine ways, the archaic warrior programming. And we have Neptune here. And we have this trine. And so we have Neptune here conjunct the south node of Venus in Aries at 0 degrees. And so with Neptune and Pisces being conjunct Venus south node in Aries, we see that archaic warrior programming, the individualism that is taking us away from the interconnectedness with all of life, each other, community, etc., that orientation, all of that is being churned up and offering us the opportunity to move away from that. It's being dismantled, it's being dissolved, it's being revealed, it's being provoked up. Mars is cutting away from that trine, cutting away from those old ways. Really powerful. Mars being conjunct the north node of Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter in Cancer. Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter all have north nodes in Cancer. Jupiter, our beliefs. Saturn, the structures and the definitions of life and society. And Pluto, our metamorphosis, our evolutionary intent. And so Cancer, to reclaim everything from goddess culture times that was demolished, destroyed, suppressed, lost, abused, tortured, etc., and bringing that forward to integrate the sacred masculine and feminine within ourselves once again, and bring back these things to go forward into a completely new Aquarius era that none of us has ever experienced and don't know what it's going to look like, which creates the feeling of insecurity and inadequacy. So we have to realize that we have to get comfortable with these feelings and start to master these feelings and work with them, and not be sent off our path and our willpower and our light, because Mars is personal power. It's a solar plexus chakra. It is that center of our ability to act. It is willpower. It is our life force. And so to act moment to moment from intuition, and to bring back the nurturance, instead of the suck it up, don't feel emotions bullshit, particularly like really dastardly perpetuated onto men, and to be sociopaths basically, and all of this suppression of what is wholesome and what is holy and what is sacred and what is good and what is so nurturing to our soul, where we thrive, love, understanding what emotions really are, the communication of our soul, data, information. How different would our world be, and will our world be, when we're working from that space? It's going to be insanely powerful and amazing. And so Mars has this conjunction of of telling us so much about what this eclipse is about, of retrieving the feminine principles, cutting away from old archaic warrior programming, cutting away from the old toxic masculine ways, the domination, the abuses, the control, the control issues. Scorpio is control issues. Capricorn is control issues. And control is this false thing, because it's not really something that's needed or truth. There isn't actually control. And it's really, I don't like, how do I put this into words? It's like when you understand it, you just kind of understand it, that for some people, control is just, it's not a question of control. Whereas some people that are Capricorn heavy or Scorpio heavy can have this issue with control and these dynamics that they're trying to heal in their evolution, their soul's evolution. And so, but for other people, like for me, for example, it's not a question of control. It's not a problem. It's kind of like forgiveness. If you heal, forgiveness is moot. You don't need to forgive when you've healed all the way. So for me, I don't do forgiveness. I don't really believe in forgiveness, and people push it. And I'm like, yeah, so how do you do it? How do you go about it? Because all these people push forgiveness. Just, I guess you just forgive all of a sudden. No, fucking heal, feel your emotions, do that trauma work. And then forgiveness will be a moot thing. It won't even be a question of forgiveness anymore. And the same is with control. The only people that think about control and want control are narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths, or anybody trained and conditioned by them. Damaged egos. So it's not even a question of control, right? And so it's coming up really big in this eclipse, where you've been dominated and controlled, where you feel powerless. Powerlessness is so much a part of this eclipse. Where have you felt powerlessness? And do you recognize that emotion when you have it? It's just like inadequacy. You can recognize it as an emotion. Get laser good. Get Scorpio incisive, sharp, clear at recognizing when you feel powerlessness, because then you can do something about it. You don't have to sit in it. And so what's also so profound about this eclipse is Pluto here at 0 degrees Aquarius started retrograding on May 1st. And by June, we'll go back into Capricorn, and we'll come out of retrograde October, and October 10th, and is conjunct its own south node, and conjunct the Saturn's south node in Capricorn and Jupiter's south node in Capricorn. So Pluto has been cleaning out Capricorn, and I talked about that earlier. And so this Aquarius time of like going back and forth between these two signs to help us shift, to help humanity get used to, comfortable, secure in these new energies of Aquarius. And so we still have this, but Pluto being retrograde, it's really fascinating, because retrogrades are a time to withdraw, to retreat, to rebel. Retrogrades are about deconditioning all of the programming and the conditioning. And in this eclipse, where we're cutting away Mars, and where we're looking at our deep inner psychology, and we're going inward, and there's so much feminine yin energy in this chart, and it's all about that inward pull, that inward gathering to look through what needs to move on in our lives, what we are ready to change, how we're ready to shift and grow, what no longer is serving us, the epiphanies, the illumination that we need. Uranus opposite the eclipse, so opposite the moon. So we're having all of these illuminations and epiphanies and understandings coming in, because we also have Mercury retrograde here conjunct the North Node, showing us everything about our ability to be self-sustaining, to be self-sufficient. That's what Taurus is all about. And the North Node conjunct Jupiter, our belief systems, our values. Taurus are based on our belief systems, and we believe the things we believe. We have the values we have because something worked for us. There's this saying about beware of the first solution. Be wary of the first good solution, because the first good solution might be to eat chocolate every time you don't feel safe. But is that really sustainable? Is that good for your body? Is that healthy? Is that cost effective? I mean, all these different things. Might be to watch TV every time you feel uncomfortable. But is that really getting you to where you want to be in your life? Is that evolving? Is that self-actualizing? This life is about art. It is about creative self-actualization. Pluto going into Aquarius for the next 20 years at the end of 2024, the polarity point is Leo. And so this Leo is saying the creative self-actualization, humanity, making art of life is how we are going to get through the destruction of the old and move into the new. And this time where it's a swirl of changes and we're dealing with our own insecurities and inadequacy and inferiority issues, and everyone's shifting and moving in different directions constantly, and life is speeding up and accelerating, especially when Uranus is going to move into Gemini in 2026. I mean, get prepared. Damn. Talk about acceleration. And it's going to accelerate the flood flowing in. You saw Mars in Gemini for 7 months. Get prepared for Uranus and Gemini. So this is what's happening. And Pluto in this retrograde is deconditioning us from all the depravity. Can square the nodes, square the south node and north node, and is deconditioning us from the depravity, the abuses, thinking that dysfunction is normal because it was normalized for us. Jerry Springer, all the reality TV shows, everybody's fighting, drama. Some people love that drama. They instigate social conflict. They want it. They create it. They know they're doing it. They love that shit. Love it. So look into your life. Do you have that going on? Get real, because this is the time to get real. You don't have to get real with anybody else, but get real with yourself at least, because Scorpio is that deep bond of merging, of deep intimacy. It wants to merge. It wants to bond. It wants to transform, metamorphose. And Pluto is a metamorphosis. And so with the square to the north node, it's saying, what are our belief systems? Jupiter conjunct Jupiter. And Taurus, are we self-sufficient? Are we self-sustaining? Are you MacGyver? Can you bubble gum and duct tape your life as needed, moment to moment to moment? Or do you have to have everything just so, and everything perfect, and the car's got to be like this, and the house has got to be like this, and I have to have this amount of money, and I have to have this amount of things? Because then how can you be a citizen of the universe where you can just go wherever and you can be okay emotionally, mentally, spiritually, psychologically? This is what this Taurus North Node has been offering us, this opportunity to get healthier, to get more simple. I'm hungry, I eat, I'm tired, I sleep. I don't have to worry about the Saturn schedule, the Capricorn schedule of a certain time of day to do certain things. I just need to sleep when I'm tired, and I just need to eat when I'm hungry. Why is it so complex, Scorpio? And a square is tension. A square is challenge. A square is growth. And so we're being offered this opportunity to grow and to move. And Mercury is highlighting it. Mercury doesn't have a lot of words. Venus is helping us with more words, but Mercury just doesn't have a lot of words right now. You might not be able to get your words out quite right. You might have all the understandings within you. You might be wordy, trying to put it into words, etc. So Mercury is going to be moving retrograde until May 14th, and then out of shadow May 31st. We got a little bit of time here yet, revealing more information to us, more insights, helping us understand all the downloads from Uranus and all those insights, because Uranus is conjunct the north node of Mars in Taurus, about the feminine, about our life force being driven by the feminine, by the intuition, by simplicity, peace, love, Taurus, by the understanding of abundance, that's the most natural thing in the whole world. And we just have to take our power back as humanity, period. And Uranus has that loose conjunction to the north node of Venus in Taurus. Loving relationships. And Uranus is a deconditioner. It deprograms. all the old shit. It's deprogramming all of the old earthbound, earth-based, storing depression era types ways we live, storing canned goods, storing prepping, and having to have resources for 10 years and hoarding all of the resources instead of sharing resources, being a resource to each other. This is something I've been pushing for a long time, is like, as a woman in business, not having $1 million, how do we all rise together as women? Because women are the hinge pin to humanity waking the fuck up and moving forward and healing all that we need to heal. We can't do it on our own. We need to partner. We need to rise together. We need to come together in female community. We need to support each other, nurture each other, love each other, be there for each other. If you have marketing skills and I have this skill, come together. Let's share. Let's be a resource to each other. That is Taurus. Taurus is self-sufficient, meaning that it knows all of its resources all around it, which is other people, in the positive way, where you're sharing resources with each other and being a resource to each other and understanding how we help and nurture, and how community is the most natural thing in the whole world. But that whole individualized Venus South Node in Aries, that whole individualized way of things, that's having that Mars trine of getting cut away from that individualistic way of living life, where you're supposed to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and do everything on your own. Got news, that was fake bullshit sold to us by the industrial fascists. Nobody ever does it on their own. They either had money, the trust fund, they had the infrastructure underneath the roads, the telephone companies, the internet, all of that infrastructure is help and support, etc. No one has ever done it on their own. That was bullshit sold to us. Did you buy into that? And all of us have bought into all of these programs until we finally wake up to them. So it's not a put down. It's just like, are you dismantling that bullshit from within your psyche soul? We all need to dismantle all of these programs from within our psyche soul. Sun in Taurus, self-sufficiency, conjunct the North Node of Mercury. The sun, opposite this full moon, conjunct Mercury's North Node in Taurus on a world point. This eclipse is happening on a world point. This is massive shifts in the world. Look to our world and how it's changing. If you look out there, I don't really pay attention to a lot of stuff because I just don't want to put it into my brain. But if you look out into the world, you will see massive shifts everywhere. Things cutting away, people dying, world leaders getting moved out. People's heads on a chopping block. Things are shifting and changing dramatically in the world. This eclipse is happening on a world point. Massive shifts happening. And Venus is sitting close to the cardinal point of Cancer, and Jupiter's North Node is on that cardinal point. And so it's Jupiter, our belief systems, Cancer, coming from intuition, nurturance, moment to moment, moment to moment. The other thing that's so important to realize is that who in the world is changing things? Us people. So we have Pluto in Cancer, Pluto in Libra, Pluto in Virgo, Pluto in Leo, and Pluto in Scorpio, and Pluto in Sag. That's who's on the planet right now. If you're alive today, you have Pluto in either Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, or Sag, meaning that your polarity point is your evolutionary intent. So everyone on the planet has an evolutionary intent of Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. And if it's the evolutionary intent, it's not the negative form of that archetype. The signs are deep archetypes. They're areas of life to master. They're tell us about our world. Astrology is a reflection of life. Astrology is life, and all of life is astrology. And so the people that have Pluto in Cancer, if we're talking 80s, 70s years old, they, their evolutionary intent for why they came in is Capricorn, but the conscious expression, not the distorted Capricorn, but the conscious expression, organizing, building, growing, something positive, something based on, some that we're growing towards in humanity. And so Pluto Leo people, Aquarius, humanitarian principles and ideas, and hopefully the right use of technology, not a chip in your hand to get onto a train. What is convenient today is controlled tomorrow. And the Pluto and Virgo generation, Pisces, unconditional love, compassion, emotions, understanding the dimensions, multidimensional living, understanding soul, bringing soul back to the center of our gravity as people. Not religion. Religion's control. Religion's false ideas to control you. But soul, the connection to the all that is. I am that I am. That divinity is within you, not without of you. That authority is within, retrieving your authority, coming from your heart and your soul, and what you know is right. You don't need somebody to tell you what's right and wrong. You don't need laws and rules and all this to tell you it's wrong to do certain things to people or to animals or life or bugs, or you know inside yourself what's right and wrong. The Pluto and Libra generation, evolutionary intent is Aries, autonomy, sovereignty, to be your own individual, unique self, fierce, and able to be independent of other people and individuated and not need other people to create your world, to create your life. And Pluto and Scorpio, that means that the evolutionary intent is Taurus, simplicity, everything we went over earlier with the North Node. Simplicity, beauty, the divine feminine, bringing back the feminine values, being self-sufficient. Taurus is our value system because it's about being self-sufficient. And so what we realize that helps us to survive, we value very much. So then we have this value system, Taurus. So is your value system created on things that were maladaptations from abuse, from childhood abuse, from past life wounds and trauma, from relationships, trying to get by, trying to survive, trying to navigate all the relationships? Like, these are the people in my high school, so this is kind of what I had to work with here, and trying to like get through, navigate with all these fucks. So like, what pile of fucks have you had to deal with in your life, and to navigate through that the best you could? And maybe you didn't have very many people like you, especially if you're a light bringer. Apollon, this asteroid conjunct the South Node, is the light bearer, and it's this Jupiter Gemini energy, and it's all about bringing the light out of the depravity of the Scorpio depravity, the mafia, the underworld, the sex trafficking, everything we already covered, like the sex being separated from the sacred. During goddess culture times, we had sexual liberation. Every time women are free, and every time there's equality between men and women, and we're in a partnership model, and we're not in the domination and the control, we have sexual liberation and sexual freedom. Isn't that fascinating? Because we've kind of been twisted to believe the opposite. Women were taught, from the 70s and 80s to like twist yourself into a pretzel to be what a man wanted you to be. This is how you sexually need to be to keep your man. Wow. We never have more sexual liberation than when women are free and when women are cognizant and empowered. So are you an empowered woman? And where are you at in that spectrum? Are you referring to men as an authority or as the person in the know? Or are you looking into your own heart and soul to guide you? Scorpio's expectations, all of that subtext and psychological dramas and stuff, all of that. And Pluto and Sag people, they're just coming up to their Saturn return, but so probably not going to see what's coming from them quite yet, but it's going to be that polarity point of Gemini, of the variety, the versatility, the embracing all types of experiences of life. Gemini wants to experience all experiences of life. And it's this dexterity and skilled, having multiple skills and many things, which to be a business owner, you have to wear 15 different hats and be skilled at all the things until you can delegate out, right? And then when you delegate out, you still want to know what the hell's going on in your business. So you want to know the ins and outs of that. So it's like, that's where we're going to, where we all have all of the skill sets. This Pluto and Sag generation is going to be bringing all of the skill sets forward. So we get back to being a people who are self-sufficient, Taurus. Get back to a people who are functional, who are healthy, who can do so many different things. My grandpa, he could woodwork. He was great at pictures. He had skill at selling insurance. He could do a business. He was a musician and could play like any musical instrument. He was a band instructor. I mean, he, had skills in tinkering with tools and fixing things around the house. And I mean, he could paint and he could do any kind of self-improvement things around the house. And he made all like my Barbie doll and my doll stuff as a kid. So like a little Barbie doll house, and then I had like a doll swing, and I had a doll waterbed. He made that stuff for me as a kid, and it was amazing. Like no one had one. I had a doll waterbed. Like it was amazing. My grandma and my dad made that. They had all of these different skills, this dexterity of the ability of life. He gardened, he knew plants, he fished, he had all of these skills. But so many people don't have one great skill. And that's, it's really fascinating what we retrieve from the past to bring forward. And somebody I have to deal with from time to time, he like has no skills. Like he doesn't know how to do things around the house, and has to call somebody else to ask for how to do things. And he doesn't really understand this. And there's a lot of obtuseness. He doesn't get how this works, and he'll Google and kind of figure it out, but it's just kind of this like laziness around it too. And it's so odd to me, because I grew up, I know how to do so many things. There's nothing I can't figure out or don't have a basic gist or understanding of. I'm not going to really do my own electricity in my house, but I still get that, or I could figure it out pretty quickly. But I'm going to leave that to somebody really, really knows. But even then, if I had to, I could figure that out and do it. It's like I've figured everything out in my life that I do on my own. I'm a circus artist. I figured out handstands and got my press handstand on my own. I did not go to a trainer and have someone train me to do that. I trained myself. And this understanding like how we're evolving and how the generations that are currently on the earth, what we're creating and what we're changing on this earth, and how we are evolving humanity and thus moving into the Aquarius age. We have to realize that Jupiter is our beliefs. And so we have to choose within ourselves. And we have to work with that. And, there's something so important about this understanding. So something just wants to come through. Just give me a moment here. Moving into this Aquarius era, it takes all of us being willing to experience life in ways we've never experienced it before, which can be really scary to people. And even more why it's so important to come together as a collective, come together in female community to help each other, to form great bonds, to do the inner work so that you're not discluding yourself from amazing situations, people, groups, friendships, because you're not doing the inner work. And you're just getting together with other people who are insecure, not doing the inner work, and all grouping up together. Like, don't do that shit. Be with people that grow you. Competition is about getting better. Like, I want somebody's brilliance in my business. I want to hire people that are smarter than me, that are better than me. I want their brilliance in my business. I want that people's genius in my life. Where can you trade geniuses with people? The Saturn trine the South Node. It's just so powerful of society, life, Saturn changing, being directed by soul, and trying the South Node, that we're healing this. Pisces is healing, that we're healing all of the depravity and the old stuff. And if you see the bloom on the internet, you see how people are awakening from narcissistic abuse and all these narcissists in their family, and people are saying, get the fuck out. And I bring this up because we have to realize that narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths are the ones that have been dominating and controlling our world, and that have been training us to behave in these ways, or we've had maladaptive behaviors to cope and to survive and get by. And now we're saying no more. We're waking up from it. People are waking up all over the world. There's healing blooming everywhere if you look out there. So it's happening. It is happening. And Uranus is bringing massive epiphanies, understandings, awakenings, greater insights. And so another thing to understand with this eclipse is that there can be reversals opposite Uranus. So what you thought was going to go through gets reversed, doesn't end up going through, and then you get the call again, and then now they want it, now they don't, now they want, expect reversals, expect the unexpected, expect not to know how things are going to play out and land. It's probably going to take a few weeks for things to shake out completely and to see where things land, and definitely after the eclipse. So this is so incredibly powerful. We're going to go into this for all 12 signs. If you have not worked with your natal charts, I really encourage you to work with me during this time, because I am doing a period of astrological research. So this is going to be for a period of time. And you can get a reading from me, a pick your price reading from $55 to $297. So this is going to be, never going to happen again, but this is an opportunity for you. If you've been wanting a chart reading, or if you've never gotten one, or if you want to, know some new things or understand how things are impacting you, I'm doing a body of astrological research. As such, I'm offering readings for a pick your price. So my normal reading price is $297, but you can pick a price between $55 and $297. I will caveat it and say that I will put the same amount of love and energy and time, and it's a lot, into your chart as anyone else. So please play as close to $297 as you can. But I want people that legitimately do not have the money and legitimately, are not eating or something, but really want to just get help with their path and what the hell is going on in my life, and why are things like this, and how do I capitalize on the energies, and what are my gifts, what are my talents, what does my soul want to do in this life, damn it, and I need to know, like, any of that. I want you to be able to get a reading. So this is not going to happen again, most likely ever, that I'll offer this. So I really encourage you to book with me now and capitalize on this while it's available. A pick your price astrology reading with me, $55 to $297. Again, please pay as close as you really legitimately can to my normal price. And you're welcome to pay. You're welcome to pay over that to tip if you'd like, to help cover the costs of other people. I really appreciate that support. And if you love these videos, if you're getting information here, if you're evolving your life and your soul from these videos, please like them, please subscribe and send it. And there's something in here that just was like bland. Please share this with a friend right now and share it with them. I really appreciate you showing up and all of us being together here in female community, and not discluding the men out there. I love you too. I appreciate you being here. And my niche is just really working with women, but love all the men's too. So thank you for your comments. I love your comments so much. So thank you so much for your comments. I appreciate you so much, and I see you too. And I wanted to cover, yes, good. I wanted to cover a gene key before I move into the sun signs. So I pulled a gene key for this chart, and it's so good. They always pull up like so beautifully. And I've been talking a lot about the inferiority, superiority complex. And gene keys is such an amazing way to understand the signs in astrology, to understand that we have the shadow, which is in red. And then we have this opportunity to learn, grow. It's the gift that we get as well in green. And then this is the city, which is a term to say like the ultimate, the Neptune, the ultimacy, the highest octave of expression is in blue. And so this is how the gene keys work. And we can look at the signs this way. We can look at the planets this way. It's such a wonderful way to learn astrology and to look at astrology. And so with this gene key 18, the healing power of the mind, and we've talked a lot about that. And Uranus is opposite this eclipse, and the moon, the higher mind, the higher octave, galactic consciousness, all of the downloads and the insights and the acceleration of the right and left hemispheres of our brain being integrated. This is why we learn cursive writing in third grade, because third grade is the time where we need to integrate the two hemispheres of the brain. And so that's why we have cursive writing in third grade. It's why we do that. And then them taking it out of schools, fucking wrong. This is the stuff that we get to stand up and change in our life. So many parents are homeschooling. So many parents are saying, my kids either got to go to a great, amazing school, or I'm homeschooling, but not doing this indoctrination anymore. And so judgment is that judgment of self, of other. where we're, you know, in this superiority, like as if we know. And there's a phase that we go through when we're evolving and waking up at the status quo, waking up from all the programs where we're like wanting everybody else to wake up and get it, and we finally get it. And so then we like condemn others, and we have this condescension and the superiority. I hope you don't stay there. If you ever find yourself in that, move through that, because that is not a place of spiritual evolution if you stay in that. And also, it's just really indicative of you not dealing with your own inferiority issues. That superiority will tell you where your inferiority is, and go in and heal that shit so you don't have to sit with that inside of you, because it comes back to that inadequacy that we talked about, because you're judging yourself, you're behaving in ways that doesn't really serve you, that are not the real ways that you want to behave in this life, all because of a feeling and emotion of inferiority deep inside. And, you know, it's this victim mindset, this disempowerment. The victim can be healed. A lot of people put down people and say, quit being a victim and all this stuff. I do not do that. I do not perpetuate that. That is not the way to do things. I'm absolutely against that. Being a victim, victimhood, the feeling of victim, all of that can be healed and needs to be healed and loved and treated with compassion. Often somebody who's in deep victimhood is very challenging to help them. Even, you know, I'm a coach, that's what I do, but it is challenging to help them because they have to move through it themselves with guidance, with tools, all with, you know, someone showing the way with the guidepost, but they have to choose to want to move out of victimhood, to want it enough. And there's some different psychological elements to that can really help and really be challenging. So realize that the victim is disempowerment. And we want to step into our highest empowerment, which is, again, emotions. So working with emotions and developing emotional mastery. And then integrity here with this gene key is taking on the world, like having integrity, being integrated with society, being out there in the world, yet retaining integrity. Can you be that on the map of consciousness above 200? So if you Google the map of consciousness, you'll see it come up. And if it's above 200, it's integrous. And so are you above, you know, integrity, which is the line of 200, courage and integrity. So it takes courage to be in integrity when everybody else is doing the wrong thing. It's that prison experiment where everyone's doing the wrong thing, but are you going to stand up? Meaning Lilith, you'll be demonized, alienated, isolated, be on your own, but you're willing to stand up and say, no, this is not right. This is not transparent. Being made to look crazy. All of those things can come with that, but you gain this spiritual evolution yourself of being an integrous soul. And then perfection, not in perfection in the ways that have that negative connotation to it, but perfection as in the highest expression of something, the bodhisattva, the ultimate, you know, that where you feel the interconnectedness with all of existence and time and space, and you fit into all of that and you're a part of it, and yet you retain your separate identity. And it's, I don't know if you've ever had that experience, but it is an amazing, beautiful experience. So I hope this is interesting and helps you. We're going to get into the sun signs, pull some cards. I hope that this eclipse, this talk helped you to understand that there are things ending, there are people leaving, there are people passing on, animals passing on, big changes, people moving, changing jobs, shifting. This is what happens in eclipse. The energies are just being shifted and altered. And I hope it's understanding with Uranus there, reversals. Don't expect anything. Just be surrendered to, you know, this Neptune, surrendered into where the pieces are all going to fall, and be in your optimism. Protect your joy. Like, this is so important, to protect your joy. Like, do you protect your inner child? Do you protect your joy? Because I have all these little fruit flies from my plant, and they like love to fly at my face. But anyways, do you protect your joy and your inner child? Like, it's so important to protect your joy from your own negative emotions. And do you know how to do that? That's stuff that we do in She Alchemy. And so if you've been looking to land in a place where you can grow and evolve and heal, have a blueprint for shadow work, and to move through difficult, challenging things, and to get coached and to learn skills for a lifetime, and you can join She Alchemy. on thegoddessastrologer.com, and we'll be doing so much in there. So I am sending you so much love. Please like and share this video. Thank you. And we're going to get to the sun signs now. One last thing I want to show you before I move into sun signs is I didn't talk about the sextile between, I love it, but it doesn't show up. And talk about the sextile between Venus and Jupiter. Venus in Gemini, she is giving us a lot of information, and there's a lot of tapping into what we're capable of, to that dexterity, to that ability to have skills in many areas, to understand all that we do know, and to be more willing to hear others in relationships and to listen and to hear, because Gemini is curious about what other people have to say and know. Gemini doesn't care if it already knows. It's going to sit there and be like, oh, really? Yeah. And it's excited and it wants to communicate and talk, where Sag is dogmatic, like, I know everything. No, this is the truth. That's not, etc. So it's really wanting to, the sextile is really beautiful with this North Node here, wanting to really alter and shift our beliefs for this new Earth, the fifth dimensional realm, for the interconnectedness with all of life, for the views and understandings about life that we're retrieving from the goddess culture times, from our indigenous heritage, from our roots of being just connected. When you're connected, you understand these things, the empathetic intelligence, retrieving our empathetic intelligence, retrieving nurturance, equality between people, partnership model of society and living, all of these things. Jupiter, our belief systems based on being autonomous, not based on being Libra codependent, the opposite of Aries, not based on all of the psychodramas and crappy psychology and dysfunctional and abuse and the maladaptations and the traumas and the wounds and all that shit, but based on our soul, Aries, our unique self, our I am, that is not like anyone else. That is, what do we like? Who are we? Why do we think that the way that we do? What are our value systems based upon? And we talked about that earlier. And conjunct this North Node, our current opportunity to actualize, to emotionally cultivate the skills of Taurus, to emotionally learn these skills. That's what the nodes of the moon are. The main nodes are where we need to cultivate skills and move out of shadow behavior. And this is the skill of Taurus, of self-sufficiency, of what we value, like looking through our value system and seeing what it's based upon. Mercury going through Taurus is really makes so much sense right now, to be reviewing and revising and editing all of our belief systems, all of the things, because our values are based upon our beliefs. And so with Venus and Jupiter sextile, Jupiter, our beliefs, Venus, we're renewing and being very versatile, Gemini, with all of our belief systems and throwing out what we're like, hey, these values were based on my survival issues. These values were based on my wounds. These values were based on my traumas. I don't need to do that anymore. Okay, throwing all that out and bringing in values that are based on your inner sense of security, your emotional mastery, your confidence, your certainty, your feeling of worthiness, your feeling of deservingness, your feeling of orientating yourself towards the value of you, and knowing and claiming and owning that value and claiming your power. Pluto is our power, square the nodes. We're retrieving that from the depravities and from the old ways of hoarding and doing the Taurus ways that are the old ways of the Depression era. So let's get into the sun sign horoscopes. Now stop share again. All right, y'all, let's go into Aries. This is not right. Hold on. Here we go. Let me share this. You are sharing the screen, supposedly. Okay, good. All right, Aries. This eclipse is happening for you. Check your rising and sun. It's happening for you in the eighth house, opposite the sun in the second. So it's on that Scorpio Taurus axis for you. And those houses about your self-sufficiency and about coming out of all of the old ways. This is about magic. This is about a regeneration of yourself. The Scorpio house is really about the butterfly on the end of metamorphosis. It's not so much meant to be about death, but that we get stuck there. We get stuck in the hell realms because we're not going through the whole metamorphosis because of the way society was set up. So Aries, this is asking you to cut away from all the old depravity, the abusers and narcissists, the people in your life, from your own behaviors, from your maladaptations, from the way that you're cutting people out, not giving people a chance with that Aries Mars ruler, or with wanting to really be into a place of where, because understanding that Aries, that archetype, is also needing to develop. It's the first sign of the zodiac, so it needs to develop all of the other 11 signs. So we have to realize sometimes the childishness and the impulsiveness of that Aries archetype, and so wanting to go deep, and there's this real desire to move out of dysfunction and move into a sense of your power that's reclaimed from being connected to all of life, from being willing to be deeply intimate with self, meaning you're doing the emotional work and understanding your emotional seascape. What are your values? You know, Jupiter in your first is, you've been working through changing your belief system around your I am, around your personality, who you are in this lifetime, the ego self. So you've been asked to change and shift, and probably, filtering through all of these different understandings of yourself, renewing ones that feel right and removing ones that don't. And with Jupiter going to be moving into your second, May 16th, it's this understanding that abundance can be on its way, luck can be on its way, some new flourishing of moving forward. But you'll need to understand if your value systems are based on old maladaptive beliefs, beliefs based on fear and abuse and things that you were in. You may have some anger and some rage, or just deep emotions of being alone or alienated, when it comes to your self-identity and how you identify yourself, how you have a foundation and roots in this world, how you have your sense of security. So around all those types of topics and family and home, there may be some sacred rage practice that needs to be enacted and invoked so that you can release old wounds and traumas, so that you can move forward into this power of self, this willpower to have a really strong solar plexus chakra, to have this sense of personal power, because Pluto is power, and Pluto's in your 11th and move back into your 10th. And it's the, being out in the world, the value system, greater humanity, it's your audience and your connectedness with groups and other people and friendships. And so it's reclaiming your power within relationships and within the group. So moving back into your 10th, about your business and your sacred calling, also your place in this world, stature, and so forth. So I hope that makes sense, to really stand up into a greater sense of power by moving through old psychological issues that it's time to move on from. Really working with emotions. With a Paul in there, it's asking you to be the light bearer, which means you have to be that for yourself first. So where can you nurture yourself? Where can you protect your inner child and you haven't been? Where do you feel vulnerable inside? And that's showing you where to protect your inner child. Where do you need more joy in your life? Where can you protect your joy? Pull some cards for you, Aries. All right. Gratitude again came up. It came up in a self-care message saying that it's about being in that present moment. And I think gratitude can be really challenging if you have resentment. So if you don't feel like you can get to that space of gratitude, it's really indicative that there's resentments in there. And so therefore we need to clean out all of the resentments. And here's the thing about resentment. You can resent life, you can resent all that is, you can resent the universe, you can resent your business, you can resent inanimate objects, your house, bills, etc. So look for where you may have resentments where it's not obvious, but also with other people too. Because when you can clear that out, you can really come back into a place of gratitude, which is the present moment, and connecting to that higher frequency and higher vibration, which is where we create more of our potential and our manifestation. So external validation, are you seeking external validation to approve of you, to say that you're worthy, to say that you matter, or that you're important, or that you're special? You have to get that from the inside out. If you're in some sort of dynamic where you're getting that from the outside, Mars, cut that shit off. Pluto, destroy that, move on, metamorphose from that. It must come from within, or you will always be beholden to somebody else to feel okay, to feel special, to feel good, to feel safe. You'll be always looking for someone else to make you feel okay. And it'll be like this treading water thing, like, tell me I'm okay, tell me I'm okay. So just look in your life and see where that's going on. Where's that going down? Collaboration of souls. It's in a self-care message saying that who are you collaborating with? And are these people on the highest levels, or is it just optics? Understand that Libra is the public and it's all the shadow Libra, because we're going to be moving into that south node Libra, and it's all the shadow, and it's optics, it's the aesthetics, it's the way things look, appearances that aren't the truth. So really be looking at collaborations of soul, because your soul is saying yes, no. And are you ignoring all of the signs that are being shown to you? So I'll leave you with that, Aries, and pull you a feather card. I'm gonna pull some feather cards for this eclipse. So white turkey, the power, the power to heal the earth is within you. So what's your big like change making presence in this earthly realm that you came here to be, being a light bringer? You know, that Apollon conjunct the south node, conjunct this eclipse. Like, what is, you know, you have the power. Do you believe you have the power? Because if you don't believe it, then you can't invoke it, you can't act upon that. So I feel like there's something that wants to come forward for you, Aries. The Raven. The universe is calling you to notice important synchronicities. So, and don't be fooled by people who are lining up supposed meaningful things. Like, where are you getting your meaningful data from your guides, from inside you, or from outside you? All right, Aries. All right. Taurus. The eclipse is 7th house, 1st house axis for you. And that 7th house is a time of celebration, completion, endings. Yes, it can be marriage and partnership and business partnerships of any kind, partnerships, collaborations, etc. Your audience, your business, the clients you work with, and so forth. But it's a completion. It's a time of celebration when we've concluded a chapter and we're moving forward now. And so with it being a Scorpio eclipse, it's resolving all the relationships in your life that don't serve you anymore. that's time to end, that's time to move on from, that are not lifting you up, uplifting you, that are not evolving or growing or wanting to be on the path in the same ways. Anything abusive, anything manipulative, anything with subtext, it's speaking up, speaking your voice, saying what you need to say, like pointing out lack of transparencies, pointing out when things are not above board. And it's a way to reclaim your power. Realize that relationships aren't a place to pussyfoot around and walk on broken eggshells. It's a place of evolution. Every part of life is a evolutionary playground for us, a training ground to evolve and grow. And it can be art if you want it to be art. And as a Taurus, that creativity, that fecundity of the Taurus, the determination and the creative procreativeness of that Taurus energy. And so it's so much about cutting away from relationships that just don't believe in you and that are not loving and nurturing of you. Why would you keep subjecting yourself, your inner child, or any part of your psyche soul to that? And it takes courage. It takes courage to do that. And the sun being in your first house, this is birthday time. Just know that with birthdays, and Gemini too, that the month leading up to your birthday is a balsamic period of your year, meaning that it is that dark night of the soul period. It is that dark trek through the underworld period. So it's the time where the most suicides happen. Be aware that you may be feeling like everything, you don't know where anything is, you don't have any landmarks, you feel guideless, you feel unmoored. So it can be that time to realize that. But this is this birthday time for you. And Jupiter in your 12th, really looking through all of your spiritual beliefs, all of your beliefs of life and the ultimate, all the big giant questions. Your belief system is going through shifting and questions in this area right now. And don't worry about if you don't know where anything lands. Uranus opposite this eclipse, this moon is bringing insights and awakening and understandings, but it's also reversals. You won't know where, anything lands until it shakes out a couple weeks from now. So definitely after the eclipse, it'll be starting to figure itself out a little bit better. So realize Mars, the ruler, is in your third house, is wanting to cut away from old ways of thinking that no longer serve you, and any sort of neural pathways, sensory information that is just no longer needed. So good for pattern interruption. Pluto in your 10th is this house of prestige, of your place in your greater role in the world, your role in the greater world, your sacred calling. And so it's retrieving your power in your business here. And you have until the end of June before it pops back into your 9th house of publishing and connection to higher truths and study and teaching and expertise. But while it's here in June, I'd capitalize on the retrieving your power and your mission and business and your why of your business. And so really powerful for you, Taurus. What is your motivation and your reasons? Not anything that anybody ever sold you or told you, but from within you. And Lilith here, there might be, a lot of clearing out of the way you thought about things or angers and emotions, and, through your thoughts, through dismantling thoughts that don't serve you and looking at them and being willing to really look. Jupiter, Venus sextile from your 2nd to 12th houses, it's like your value system is shifting based upon your beliefs. And so you might not know where you land right now. And it's okay to be in the inquiry. This is part of the adventure, to be allowing for yourself to explore and discover and let your value system shift and change and alter. This is so important with this Venus ruling the North Node and the Sun, and being in Gemini with the dexterity of skill sets and the dexterity of thinking, the dexterity of desires to help you reclaim your joy reclaim the things that really matter to you. So it's a big clearing out of all the darkness and depravities and abuses and traumas and wounds. And so really being willing to feel your emotions is going to be so key here, Taurus. All right, let's pull you some cards, Taurus. Fall in love with your story in a self-care message. So I'm really getting that it's about falling in love with your story, about where you're being cleaned out of all the belief systems and all of the thinking that's no longer serving you. And there's being a space created for what matters to you and a value system that's based on what's important to you, not anything given to you by your parents or that was conditioned into you from past lives or from traumas and abuses. And so again, this might be a time to be in the inquiry, but falling in love with your story is meaning that deep connection to self. So being embodied, being in those still moments where you might want to go put on TV or run away or do something different because emotions start to come. And it's when you let the emotions cascade and shake out to when you really get that deep self-intimacy and can really fall in love with your story, because you're falling in love with yourself, because you're knowing yourself at a deep, intimate level. Limitations inspire innovations. And so which word popped out to you more, limitations or inspire or innovations? And so while the challenges can be really hard, see how it's made you resourceful and see if you've really extracted all of the resourcefulness that you have within you. What's the edge of your capability, of your resourcefulness, of any limitations that you may have? So finding your strength within what looks to be very difficult. Cut the cords of doubt. So it's saying, it's in a self-care message saying that there are a lot of doubts that you're dealing with and feelings of inadequacy and insecurities. It's okay, but how are you going to shift that? Do you have an active technique that you're using on a day-to-day basis to not allow your brain to indulge in thoughts of doubt, to not allow those emotions to be what you're acting from, because our emotions drive behaviors. So not letting those emotions drive your behaviors. Do you have techniques that you're working with? And you got prosperity, sisters, or happiness and joy, again in a self-care message. So it's really calling you into joy. It's really calling you into what makes you feel good and what makes you feel supported and nurtured and loved and creative. Where can you feel creative and just let go into that creativity? Because that's what it's really calling for, is to be able to move into where you can flow and creative. So it might be rolling around on the floor and getting into your body and feeling out. It might be self-pleasure, painting. It might be painting really big with your body, like on big pieces of canvas paper, finger paints, like getting out more for the movement of it, the working of the material, clay, things like this, where you're really using your body in your body and really working your creativity through some sort of medium, so you can get that call and response energetically and work out emotions and weird things going on for you. It's birthday time for you, Taurus. We'll pull another card, Sacred Mirror. So really about being willing to see life reflect back to you what is you're holding inside yourself, and let that help you understand how much you've grown, how much you've cleared out, how much you've learned and healed, and really understanding where to go in to do the healing, because it's being reflected back to you. So anything that's feeling hard or challenging in that way, let it just show you where to go in and work from. Befriend the word polarize with the extremes, kind of seeing if you can get back to a place of neutral. Don't let yourself be in the extremes of good and bad, right and wrong, this way only, and really see if you can move back into a place of neutrality and keep finding neutral, because neutral is where you have so much more power to act. Pull you a feather card, Taurus. So white turkey came out again, and it's the power to heal the earth is within you. And the power to heal the earth, it's the earth, humanity, that you bring healing to this world. And so in what way are you bringing healing to this world? Through your gifts, through your voice, through how you speak to other people, through your upliftment or encouragement or inspiration. And then I pulled the card, the Nuthatcher card. My grandma used to always call them asps because they always put their ass up in the air. Stay grounded and welcome the new knowledge and perspective coming to you. Really beautiful. And this is definitely something that happens around our birthday time. So I hope you've had new perspectives coming in, Taurus, and or are blossoming towards that direction coming up. Sending you lots of love. Gemini. So Gemini, this eclipse is happening for you in your 6th, 12th house axis. And it's really asking you to step into your self-sufficiency within your gifts, channeling, intuition, really with healing, with looking into the past and understanding what to bring forward, how to heal, what to look at, expect reversals. Maybe old wounds come up again, different things like this. And the moon and south node in your 6th house. This is a house of self-mastery, and this is a house of devotion. And so it's like this devotion to cutting away what no longer serves you, from being the light bringer, the light bearer, which takes the healing. It takes looking at all of the places within yourself that you don't want to look, not intellectualizing your emotions, but feeling your emotions, identifying them, working through shadow, really being willing to look at where it's time to heal and grow and let go of old attachments of security, to move into a more secure place within your own self, rooted within yourself and your versatility and your beautiful ability to embrace all the different areas of life and connect and communicate so well. Jupiter in your 11th is sifting through your belief systems around people, groups, friendships, and how things have been with that sextile to Venus in your 1st. It's giving you this call and response around your value system and your own identity and your own ego. And so you're kind of sifting through all your belief systems that you've had with other people and what's no longer fitting, and these values that you've had of yourself based upon things you believe for whatever reason growing up, or because of college, or someone taught you this, or you were conditioned that way, and letting go of beliefs that just no longer serve you. Aries really stepping into your autonomy and your beliefs that are based upon things from your own experience, from your own soul and your own heart, and having a new set of values in your ego personality based upon that moves forward in this world. Mars in your 3rd, cutting away from old neural pathways, ways of thinking that just don't serve you anymore, or memories or things you don't want to look at anymore in your life. There's a cutting away. There's a healing, a surgical release, removing, ending, a completion there. Pluto in your 9th is offering you this chance to retrieve your power and your expertise and standing up as a teacher. And really seeking the higher truths and connecting with the higher truths and the higher understandings of life, the bigger perspectives, with the metaphysical sense of this world. And Saturn in the 10th is probably dissolving a lot of projects and ideas in your business. So you could feel like this, like everything is, before you get the project even up and launched, that it's dissolving and you don't have the motivation. So just be aware that Saturn can kind of do that right now. And so Neptune in your 10th as well. There's a lot of malleability and manifestation ability in your business, but really based upon what's been healed, based upon bringing the light, based upon something more pure. This this eclipse is really asking about what is the pure light coming from you, not from status or keeping up with the Joneses or all of these fake things that society says is important, but based upon your value system, based upon your renewal of new beliefs, based upon your own sense of self that is your own. That's not a sense of self that's been given to you. And so really powerful, Gemini. Lots of big shifts and changes. Pull you some cards. This card wanted to come forward. You are magic. So remembering that, stepping into the magic that is you, which is all of your genius, all of your brilliance and ideas and inspirations and insights, believing in that. We talked about inadequacy earlier in the show. And so really go back to that spot about inadequacy. I'll put chapters in later. So because you want to make sure you're dealing with any inferiority issues, inadequacy issues, superiority issues, insecurities, because this is where it's going to cause you to try to prove, convince, overcompensate, behave in ways that just aren't the magic of you. You know, Michelangelo said that he didn't carve the sculpture, that he just carved the marble out from around what was already beautiful inside. And this is the same. Like, really be willing to heal all those maladaptations and all those inferiorities and inadequacies, because they show you where it's not really you. That's stuff from just being in this earthly plane and all the conditioning and how we're growing and changing and evolving into something completely different that we don't know yet. So it gives you really good information of where to go in and to support yourself and nurture yourself. So there's so much coming up, manifesting and doing. So if you're doing that Gemini, running around distracted constantly, so many things, so many activities, so many errands, and realizing that Gemini, it is this versatility, it is this embracing a wide swath of things, but it can be distraction. It can be wanting to do 10 things at once at 100 miles an hour, and that doesn't get anything accomplished, and it just floods out your life force energy and ejaculates all your life force energy out, leaving you with nothing to actually creatively invoke and finish and complete. And so it's this manifesting, letting that it all be a flow, and what you do be based upon your intuition, and your intuition be based upon the information you get from doing, and that beautiful flow. And it's upright cards as well. Nourish the sacred feminine. So sinking into gentleness, kindness, protection of your joy, your energy levels, playing, softening, really listening, hearing you, and really responding to the needs of your body, the needs of your heart, the needs of your inner child, the needs of all the different aspects of you, and softening down, listening inward, letting yourself have moments of stillness. With Gemini energy, that can be challenging sometimes. And so it's calling you to that, Gemini. I'll pull you a feather card. Nuthatch again. So stay grounded and welcome the new knowledge and perception and perspectives coming to you. So that nuthatch energy is wanting you to get grounded. So I was mentioning about that, where that Gemini energy can be distractionary and challenging at times. And so really sinking into being grounded. What are the ways in which you ground? You can just do an energetic imagination tool, or you can sage or stomp your feet back and forth the way you stand, and really kind of look at, like, what do I see? What do I hear? What do I taste? What do I smell? It's a way to ground into this present reality. Like, where am I out in the world? So try that. Nope. All right, Cancer, eclipse happening in your 5th house. and with your 5th and 11th axes. And this is this cutting away of all that's not allowing for your absolute mastery, your absolute sense of self, self-possession, being willing to stand on the stages of your life within yourself, within your family, within your friend groups, work, literal stages in your business, and so on. This is where there's just complete belief in self, a just sense of creative self-actualization. And so this is a cutting away from everything that is preventing your creative self-actualization. What are those things, and where can you be that light bearer, bringing that forward, and and bringing forward the focus and the intensity and the reclamation of power in your creative self-actualization, meaning making art of life, making art of your business, art of your family, like really thinking of it in this way, or thinking of it through some other lens that really nurtures you or that you love. I personally love to look at it as making art, in that it's a piece that, to make a masterpiece, we make many, many, many pieces, and we get to work at it, and we get to change it. And we don't have to just set this one masterpiece on the wall. The masterpiece is the whole thing. And so making the masterpiece of life. And this Taurus in your 11th house, this north node, and this Uranus, there can be complete reversals, unexpected happening in general, but particularly in friend groups and with your audience and number counts, and with, collaborations, groups, things going one way and another way. So just allow that to be, and it'll shake out soon. This Jupiter in your 10th house is filtering through all of your belief systems around business, around prestige, around your place in the greater world, and your self-image related to that. And so, do you feel like you have power in the world? Can you stand powerfully in the world? How is that for you? And what is your identity within that? Or is it based upon it? Or is it lacking? And so really looking at your place within the greater whole, and weeding out all the belief systems that are not loving, encouraging, supportive, nurturing, lifting you up, confident, etc., which that sextile to Venus then gives you a whole new value set, about the world at large, about the whole gestalt, the bigger picture of everything. And so you understand new ways and perspectives that you see the world, and so you value different new things. So your value systems are going to be shifting and altering based upon how you shift your beliefs. Pluto in your 8th house is digging through your sexuality and your ability to regenerate and metamorphose yourself, the areas of challenge and pain and psychological difficulties, your connection to all that is, your connection to self-intimacy. And so there's this going through a metamorphosis through those areas right now, shifting and altering. And so there's some sort of regeneration happening for you within self-intimacy, connection to self, all of your intimate relationships and bonds, could be your finances, and with your connection. And if you think about it, all of these things are related to what we think of as survival, or we think of as the deeper most areas of life. And so there's a massive metamorphosis happening for you, Cancer, in the most fundamental, deepest parts of life. And it's going to shake out over time here. Mars in your first is cutting away from old ideas about yourself that just don't serve you any longer, and allowing for you to retrieve some of your gentleness and kindness and tenderness, and slowing down and listening to your body, listening inward, respecting yourself, requesting others to respect you, and not allowing others to no longer disrespect you, not allowing others to no longer value you or treat you in ways that do not value you. Really important stuff here. This Neptune Mars trine is wanting you to step into a greater centered relationship within your intuition, within your business and your platform, standing as the expert or a leader in the world, and to really have that be based on intuition, connecting to something higher in the higher dimensions, and being centered in your personality that's connected to intuition, that's nurturing of you, that's protecting your inner child, that's loving of you, that's protecting what you need physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to really be on stage. And these squares from Pluto, it's this, being the expert, being in the know, yet having fluidity where you're not dogmatic, and being able to be confident. What is taking away your confidence right now? And so there is some reviewing and understanding and insights that are coming to you around other people groups and around your retrieval of power right now, and how to stand in your confidence. What are the limitations? What are the blocks? What are the things that you're working out of at the moment? And pull some cards for you, Cancer. The good kind in a protection message. So really understanding yourself as a good kind. Like, how do you look at yourself? Do you have thoughts that you're letting be in your consciousness and your psyche that are putting you down, and they're not loving you, and that are like the Rolodex of all the inadequacies and the insecurities? Are you letting that shit sit in your brain? Do you have real techniques at work? That's what She Alchemy is all about. So I also talk about that on the podcast. You can look below this episode for the link. So are you allowing your own brain to kick your ass and to put you down? Like, do not allow one of those thoughts to sit in your mind. Do not let that be in your consciousness. Do not let something, a voice inside you, put you down. Find your sacred flow in a self-care message. And it's asking you again to be out of the mind and the thinking, to really do mind management so you can be in the flow of life, be in the flow of your intuition, be guided. Your astrology is very, very clear that it's wanting you to orientate yourself from intuition, not from the mind, not from other people's voices, not from external voice, external commands, obedience. Creator fire, action. So fire is action and it's energy. So what is stopping and limiting your energy? Are you getting enough sleep? Do you need to be more fluid with that? Where are you needing maybe more B12 to really look at the food and exercise and the things you're doing to help you have the energy to create? And also fire is creation and creativity. Are you allowing yourself to play, be joyful, create, and just like stop, drop, and create? When you get ideas, just create them. Create things into being, because this is fuel. This is life fuel. This is life force fuel to create things. Life is art. So follow through. And, it's just so clear, the message, it's in a self-care message, just follow through. And it's like, if you're beating yourself up and not thinking that you're good and not feeling worthy and not feeling certain, confident, and then you're in your head, so you're not flowing with the creativity when it comes. So then you're not actually creating anything and taking action, and then there's no follow through. And so your message is so clear. Creator fire was upright. So you're getting creativity and maybe you're doing things, but it's all the pieces of it. So really manage that mind from telling you shitty shit about yourself, and allow yourself to flow from your intuition. Trust your intuition to guide you to the right place. Trust your intuition to make you money. Trust your intuition to know and to move you around obstacles. This life is not about the Joneses and the $1 million and all that stuff, as much as we were sold that, as much as people sell it, as much as it's everywhere. It's about soul evolution. And so it doesn't fucking go the way you want it to go sometimes. And that's not really what it's about. And so it's like, how can we do both? How can, what is the higher thing? And so, that self-inquiry, that conversation with your guides, that conversation with your own natal chart, and understanding that and what your soul is trying to do, because the more consciously you engage with it, the less catastrophic it is in your life. So I hope that's very clear, is just like, Do not let your brain speak bad to you. Let yourself flow from intuition. Create when you get the ideas, just create, have fun, play, trust that, trust your joy, and follow through with your creative activities. So it's really letting you know that by not following through, it's keeping you in this loop that I just showed you with these cards. I'll pull you a feather card, Cancer. So if you don't follow through, you'll still be in that fucked up loop, and then you'll have your brain talking bad about you because you didn't follow through, and you'll be in that loop over and over. I hope that makes sense, because that's really, really powerful cards that just came up for you. Really powerful. Awesome. All right, this card wanted to come, the ostrich. Ostrich is they're just such massively big animals. For a bird, it's like it's a big ass animal. The choice is clear for you now. Follow your wisdom and truth you feel in your heart. Follow the wisdom and truth you feel in your heart. Your reading is like really clear. All right, Cancer. I hope that helps you get out of those stuck places. All right. Come back. There we go. All right. Leo, this eclipse for you is in your 4th house of self-identity, that 4th house, 10th house axes, and really asking you about where your self-identity is. And it's based on the prestige of the outside world, of the greater world at large, or is it based on something from within you, from your power from within, from your connection to the all that is, from your connection to yourself as divinity, cutting away from the depravities and the emotional toxicity, the ways of viewing yourself and the self-identities up to now that just no longer serve you and are not serving your greater vision, your vision in the future, your dreams, and aren't allowing you growth, aren't allowing you to move forward with growth. So this Sun and Uranus opposite in the 10th house of status, career, how taking up space in the world, how we are in the greater world, how we show up and power in the world. Uranus is reversals, the unexpected. It's awakening, insights, and illumination, and it's an acceleration. So there's something really accelerating in your business and how you see yourself and taking up space in the world, and really a cutting away from old maladaptations or psychology that isn't serving you around your self-image and how you fit into the greater whole. So there's really a clearing out and a purging of what's been holding you back and limiting you. This Venus sextile, you're changing your values around people, group, friendships, based upon new beliefs, changing around like understanding more about the world through travels and expansive experiences that are helping to clean out your belief systems right now, that will shift your values around people. And Mars in the 12th is cutting away from the wounds and the pain and the challenges that you've went through in the past, that you've been able to grow through now, cutting away from maybe past life wounds and traumas, and any sort of psychic abuse, things that are not helpful and to your path anymore. Pluto in the 7th is all about partnerships, relationships, but also this culmination. So it's like this completion, this culmination to your power dynamics and relationships. Square the nodes based on simplicity, based on your self-sufficiency, now that your relationships and your power and relationships that have to be based on your own self-sufficiency and not getting that from others. And then the square to the south node from Pluto is cutting away from all of the old abuses and the old maladaptations, the old psychological ways of seeing the world that isn't allowing you to expand and have power in relationships, because building relationships is how you build business, and it's how you make money, it's how you create clients, is by building relationships. And you can choose where the line is, but being willing to to claim and own your power there. So there can be, some dissolving of old things, old limitations that can be happening for you, which is really powerful. It's really good. All right, let's pull you some cards, Leo. We have one step ahead is all you need and a self-care message. So there's like really using the vision to beat yourself up right now and seeing the vision and all of the pieces, but then being immobilized because you feel like you have to be doing all of that now, or that should be now, when it's really actually just one step at a time, and do the easiest parts of the vision that you can do right now. And then the other steps, the next steps will become clear. So don't use your future vision against your current now creation ability. Create where you can and see if you can get all that on paper or a mind map or something, so that you can piece out what's now, what's next, what's, a year from now or 3 months from now, or etc. So I hope that helps with kind of the creativity. Any sort of sense of urgency. Just realize that's a lot about the acceleration of Pluto and Aquarius and the energies on the planet right now. Some portals that we've entered. Fill your cup up with sacred giggles. It's in a protection message. So it's saying you're not getting enough laughter and joy time. That is really important, and that you're overlooking and discounting how important it is, not trusting your joy to lead you to the right place. With that Leo energy, there can be the sulking and wanting people to come to you when you really need to be stepping into the higher echelon of psychological and emotional health. Bliss is worth creating from. So again, it's bringing you back to the joy, into the heart. And where is the play? Where is the fun? I mean, that is that Leo vibe, right? The creative self-actualization. Ambush fear with ferocious dream. And so again, the future vision can really kick your now moment, your now creative ability and procreativeness. So just ambush fear, like really understand the difference between what of your vision is now and what is in a year and what is in a month, and so on. It's saying that there's fear coming up. Fear immobilizes. And so how do you handle fear? One of the best ways is to go into it. One of the other best ways is to break it down, like unpack the fear, and it ends up being nothing that is even worth fearing. And also it might be nervous system regulation stuff. So do you have real tools to regulate your nervous system? We teach that in Alchemy. And do you have real techniques that work to keep yourself grounded and to deal with any trauma or PTSD type symptoms, etc.? What's the honest truth? Really getting real with yourself, because only if we look and get really real with our own shit and shadow and challenges or abuses can we shift it, alter it, can we heal our shame, heal our regret, heal our guilt, or any of those things that are holding us back unnecessarily. It's just emotions. We're here to evolve. We have to experience things and go through things to change and grow and evolve. So you can go through that, Leo. We have grouse, this fat bird that looks like it should be, and I can just see like a cartoon of what it should be saying, like some sort of bubble, and it's like proclaiming something. Embrace the what does it say? Stupid cursive, man. Embrace the power of dance and movement to access your highest guidance. Yeah. So bringing back to all your cards about joy, about what's the honest truth that you really want to move or sing or dance or flow. Like, what are you doing instead? What is going on with you, Leo? Like, you've got that 10th house, 4th house, how you're seeing optics, your own identity. And so there's some interesting things about, Leos can really deal with vulnerability, can really deal with insecurity and inadequacy and inferiority issues and the fear of being insignificant. So just really looking at that and embracing dance and movement to work that shit out and strut around like this grouse. He's so cute. He's adorable little grouse. All right, Leo. Virgo. So 3rd house, all about mindset. There's been a lot for you, Virgo, like pretty consistently about mindset, clearing out the old neural pathways, managing your mind, how you're thinking, not letting your thoughts like confuse you as truth, not believing all the thoughts your brain comes up with, not confusing that for who you are, not confusing all the thoughts in your head for who you are. You are not your thoughts, being the watcher of your thoughts. And so this is really giving you this opportunity, this trine to Mars, to cut away from all the old thinking that's not serving you, the old neural pathways, memories, ways of communicating and being in the world, understanding, hearing, not listening to others, that that has been a limitation, and or that has defined you. And this isn't important about your experiences in your area, and really having versatile experiences, new experiences, traveling, being out in the world, just looking around you for novelty, because that's that energy of that third house is novelty, and bringing in a flood of information from which to utilize that call and response type of interaction. This North Node, this Pluto here, is wanting you to break down all of the old limitations and definitions that just no longer served you, that you've held in your mind for so long, and step into simplicity, step into peace. Know that there might be reversals when it comes to your expertise, when it comes to travel, long distance, when it comes to being a teacher or putting things together, any sort of events or things you're holding where you're in this position of leadership or teaching. Just know that there could be a lot of unexpected things will shake out here soon. And so it's retrieving your power in this area of being self-sufficient as a teacher, as a leader, as a role model in the world, as one who is putting together and espousing philosophies and ideas. Confidence with that, believing in yourself. This Venus sextile to Jupiter is cleaning out your belief systems and your 8th house. So everything to do with your connection to all that is, and your connection to deep self intimacy, sex, power, your ability to regenerate into the next version of yourself over and over and over again, because this is about evolution. It's not about staying static. So your value system being based on your beliefs, how is that all shifting for you? There's a sextile here, you got to grab for it, but you can really have a lot of beautiful shifting and changes and epiphanies and awakenings that are leaving you with a new way to believe in yourself and your business and your calling and your place in this world in a greater way. Yeah. Anything else want to come through for Virgo? Just understanding the inadequacy, Virgo. I go over that very deep earlier in the show, so you can go back and watch that piece about inadequacy. That will really help you a lot. But just realizing what that is, and that all of humanity is really going through that. Make a mission statement for your soul. Really about reconnecting to soul. Is everything coming from soul, motivated by soul, your heart, something inside that's bigger than eat, work, entertainment, sleep, and do it again? It's something that's bigger than that, something that matters, that's meaningful. What is the meaning that you have right now? Because with the eclipse being in your 3rd house of how you think, it's your mindset about every topic of life, your body, your health, your business, other people, the world, universe, all the different pieces. And so it's really saying that, is there meaning there? What's the current meaning? And is that something you still want to subscribe to, or do you want to invoke a newer, deeper meaning? Lead your metamorphosis in a protection message, saying that you're being in the victim and really being kind of victim-y and in that disempowered place, and really needing to move out of that. And if you don't know how, I encourage you to get into one-to-one coaching or she alchemy, and even working with your astrology can be a great way to really move out of the victim place. And you are the muse, realizing that it is from within you that everything comes. So what are you amused by? How do you feed your creative spark? How do you feed your joy and all of your ideas? Where do you take in information at? And how do you put yourself in all kinds of environments and situations where you're getting sparked with inspiration and ideas all the time? So really realizing that you're the muse, it's not outside of you, just like divinity is from within, so is inspiration, and from whence creativity comes. It's from your interests. So you got the pelican. Choose to follow the path of forgiveness and raise your vibration. So I don't really believe in forgiveness. I don't know where the button is that you push for forgiveness, but when you heal, forgiveness is moot. But it may be talking about acceptance and really needing to have acceptance with things gone by and to raise your frequency, raise your vibration. The victimhood came up. And so there's kind of this sitting in that. And you got the magpie. I just pulled you another card. It came out, and it is reevaluate your priorities. It is time to let go of what you no longer need. So very clear. Where is this? Oh, very clear, Virgo. Hope that helped you. Libra. Second house eclipse for you. It is the house of, value system, self-love, self-sufficiency, reliance, abundance, money. And so endings, completions here. This is where moving into a new way to be around money, a new way to be around valuing yourself, how you orientate yourself within yourself. Do you orientate yourself to you are valuable, period, done? And anything that doesn't corroborate that in your life must go, because you must only have things in your life that corroborate that. It's something to consider. Maybe you say it in different words or put it together a little differently, but are you valuing yourself at the highest level? And our values are based upon our beliefs. So then, do you believe in yourself? Do you believe in what you're capable of? Is that being acted out in your life? Can you see that? So this eclipse is really wanting to cut away from all of the old manipulations, abuses, maladaptations, triggers, wounds, issues, just horrible things or difficult, challenging things that you've been through that have taken you away from your ability to be self-sustaining, self-sufficient, self-love, like as if there's a self-sustaining wheel of love, of valuing self, honoring self, loving self, and so on, that it just keeps renewing and renewing and renewing, because it is that 8th house axis of Taurus, and this 8th house, the sun there, saying that there's this wanting to be able to collect the resources of others through the valuing of self and understanding your value, and then being creative in the world. That's Taurus. There can be reversals and the unexpected here in the areas of connection to source, channeling your psychic gifts, other people's money, things like that. So just wouldn't have any expectations on things and wouldn't be surprised if things changed or moved around. There's a lot of understanding with Mercury here coming through around self-intimacy and the things that are shedding away, that are in the way of deep self-intimacy, which might just be the inclination to not feel emotions and not want to look at those, or to do old patterns, old behaviors, whatever behaviors those emotions used to drive, to escape, to get away from them. There might be that inclination and needing to shift and alter that. So Jupiter is giving you this chance to look through your beliefs around relationships, which will change your value systems based upon standing in your expertise and your power and your own philosophies of life, your own metaphysical ideas of life. And And so relationships are where it's kind of giving you this opportunity to filter through all of that. Pluto is this reclamation of power in your self-mastery and your like complete sense of self, your complete self-composure, standing on stage, owning your gifts and your talents and your abilities in this world. It's just like, it's a certitude. It's just a given. It's not a question. There's no swaying, there's no wavering on it. And so Pluto is like saying, this is a reclamation of power here. This is the opportunity here. Square second and eighth houses of money, resources, valuing yourself, standing in your value, creation, creativity, connection to your intuition and all that is, and just bringing that through. So there's challenge there, you know, one provokes the other and so on. And so it's like, can you really use this Mars trine to the moon in your 10th house to cut away from everything in your business that is a distraction, that is not just like singularly focused on what you feel you can do right now, that is powerful, that you feel so capable and good on. Like, give yourself easy wins. Cut away from all the other shit right now. Why make it so difficult? Can you give yourself easy wins to build up your confidence and your belief in yourself, and keep renewing your value within yourself over and over and over again? The sun and the eighth of like, be in this regeneration of a greater and greater and greater level of self-value, self-love, self-belief, self-confidence, as you do easy wins in your business and just keep growing through that. This trying to Neptune in the sixth is saying that it is just this devotion to self-honor, honoring your energy, self-love, that you know you're capable. And so easy wins, like, make it easy. And that's where this is going to shift for you. This Mars is really this key for you of easy wins. Nurturing. I mean, it's the Pluto North Node here. So nurturing. And we'll pull some cards for you, Libra. Realize that the South Node's going to change into your sign. So that's going to be for 18 months. So you'll have a sun or a rising South Node conjunction. It can kind of go by without being noticed, but you can capitalize on it and use it to your advantage. So really great to work with your astrology. You can book that at the goddessastrologer.com. Get back to the elemental. So, you know, what do I see, touch, taste, feel, intuit? What do I hear? What do I know? What do I see? What do I feel? What's the intuition data that I'm getting? Trust that, honor that. When you know something inside, go with it. It is your intuition, and just ground. Great food, nourishing food, like root veggies in the oven, roasted veg, things that nourish you and ground you, putting a salsa together yourself, things that help you feel connected, nature, grass, trees, animals, getting silent, getting down on the ground, stretching your body, movement, the spark of creativity. So that like spark of wanting to go, to move, to make things happen. And so it's like, when that energy comes on, it's like, stop, drop, and create. Just do it. Don't think. Realize that Libra likes to think and weigh out and think, and you gotta kind of disconnect that inclination, that bypass that, and go right from intuition to action, because that will give you the easy wins, that will show you what you're capable of, and make that thinking mind calm the fuck down and stop thinking you out of your action and creativity. Because you're never going to think it into existence. You're never going to think it and be like, this is the exact perfect thing. Now I know what to do and I can do it now. But that's what that Libra like type of air quality likes to do, is think it can figure it out and then it'll act. That's not how it works. We just, the air quality in our world has been overactive and toxic, and we have to really rein it in and reconfigure it. We just really need to reconfigure our air energy, and work with the consciousness of air, because consciousness, the air, the four elements are living beings. Like, work with that consciousness of air and see if you can reconfigure that quality within yourself. Inflow with money. So believing that inflow with money, this is so beautiful. Ah, Jupiter's going to be moving into your sixth house. So like I said, like easy wins, step by step, that is what's going to help you to create money and to move forward and to believe in yourself, which then will create more money, and then get some wins, believe in yourself even more, get more money, and so on. It's going to be really nice for you, Libra. Your past supports your future, but it's in a protection message. So it's like there's this rumination on the past that's stalling you out, rather than realizing that that's the food that your soul needed to have the growth that you now have to be able to do what you can make happen in the future. As much as that whole breaking down, turning into fertilizer type of process of going through these shit and shadow and pain, loss, and challenge in our life, it's the nutrients that feeds the dream and feeds the amazing, beautiful, light bearing work that you do in the world. So if you can reframe the way you're looking at the past and any sort of wounds or heart hurts there. What else wants to come forward for Libra? What do you really want? Again, in a protection message, so X marks the spot. Like, really, if you're not clear, how can you put a target on the wall to go for it? So a lot of times with clients, we'll work on a money goal, but it's like, then we let go of the money goal, because it's not really about the money. It's about having some target to shoot for, because it's really the journey that we're on, because that's where all the evolution and self-development comes from, is working towards some target, because then all the obstacles come, and that's the world we live in, that's the universe we live in. So then we get to stretch and grow and expand ourselves. So Creator Earth and a protection message again. So you're getting a lot of protection message. It's just a lot of self-care. There's too much thinking in the mind, distraction energy running around, and not getting in the stillness, which means the emotions will come up and you'll have to feel them and let them wash through you, and just let them come through, because that, when that shakes out, then you're going to be able to finally land and breathe and regulate your nervous system. So this Creator Earth is about grounding and regulating your nervous system and feeling connected to solid ground, which is within yourself, not in actuality. So Libra, let's pull you feather card. Oh, it's coming for Libra. White Swan came up. The power of divine grace is within you. So that grace is just this resolution. And so this like divine resolution is within you. So the power of that is within you, just by simply holding the space and allowing for it. I'm just going to pull you another feather card, Libra. Blackbird. The magical and unique qualities of your untapped potential are unfolding now. So again, just give yourself easy wins, believe, create easy wins, believe, create, it's just that beautiful pattern. A new creative venture is on the horizon. See it as a positive change. That Oriole energy. I love Orioles. They're so skittish. They don't really stick around easily. So, all right, Libra, I hope that helps. All right, Scorpio. Eclipse is in your first house of your I am. So what is being shed away? Old versions of yourself, burning off the dross of your personality, who you felt yourself to be, the identities that no longer serve you, ego deaths, really your belief systems, all the things that comprise how you see yourself, and just what was based upon wounds or traumas or past life conditioning, and just isn't you anymore, and stepping into this new self, this new version of yourself that is powerful and able to move forward with the simplicity in relationships instead of all the psychodramas. There can be a lot of reversals in relationships, not knowing kind of how things are going to shake out or play out right now. And this North Node's been going through your relationship house, asking you to step into that simplicity, peace, really moving into a place within relationships that is based upon mutual value. Mercury's moving through this relationship house and is churning up a lot of information, insights, understandings around relationships, helping a lot to also understand yourself then, and more about who you are and what's shifting for you. Can be a lot of endings or things like that are a part of you. So maybe if people are passing on, or if animals have passed on, what felt like who you are may be changing based upon losses or changes in jobs, or that you're moving, parts of your identity is shifting because of these changes and these completions and endings that have come about. Pluto, the dispositor of this eclipse in the 4th house of your identity and your self-concept, square the 1st house. And so really reclaiming your power of self, your power within your emotions, your power within your rootedness that comes from within self, your sense of security. So also the square to the 7th house of reclaiming your power within relationships, that healthy self, that self that understands a lot of dynamics, opportunity to change your belief systems in your day-to-day life, and your sense of self-mastery, and your sense of devotion to your work, your calling, your family, your home, the things that you value in your life, which alters and shifts your values around everything dealing with your deep intimate self, the deepest parts of yourself. This trine to Neptune is offering you a chance to base your sense of mastery and bringing your gifts to the world upon soul, upon something higher, really understanding a bigger picture of everything. And this trine from Mars to this eclipse is giving you this opportunity to cut away from old perspectives, ideas, philosophies, beliefs that just don't really serve you, aren't really a part of who you are anymore, aren't nurturing, aren't supportive, aren't lifting you up, that maybe are part of the patriarchy, part of the conditioning programming, and that now you're moving away from. You might have some anger or rage practice around ideas and philosophies that you live by or have been conditioned under, that you've kind of awakened to and are dismantling. So there's a lot here, Scorpio, shifting and changing and challenging you, but provoking such massive evolution and growth. So you are living poetry, remembering the good of you, like really remembering the beauty of you, tapping into that, believing in the beauty of yourself, believing in the magic that you have within you, that this is a story in motion, this whole earthly incarnation, and how do you want to create the story moment to moment? How do you want to paint it beautiful? What beautiful colors do you want to put in it? You know, metaphorically speaking, like how can you, like, okay, here's the circumstances that maybe I can't change, but how can I paint it pink or beautiful colors and make it bring beauty, bring poetry, bring the essence, the spark of your own feminine genius, and the wonderful parts about you. Feed your artist. So a lot here about poetry, artistry, about flowing, getting into your body, feeling the emotions, moving the energy through you through some sort of medium. And this card wanted to come forward to unstuck the stick in a protection message. So maybe it's really moving your body, through art, doing art, like moving paint on the floor on big pieces of paper. You can just use cheap watercolor paints or kids paints, but it can be an amazing way to get the energy out of your body and to move emotions through you, especially with such intense emotions that you may be feeling during this eclipse time, really, really affecting you heavily, and trying to move out and purging deep old shit from your psyche soul and the patriarchy and the abuses and the control and the power dynamics. So you need to move the water. Scorpio is fixed water. So you need to move that water and get that iceberg melted so it can flow out. Otherwise, stay stuck in old places. So it's really asking you to use the energy and the movement of artistry. You got changes, so there's changes afoot. And are you narrating change as negative in your mind? Because a lot of times we'll have this negative connotation about change, that it's scary or it means something bad is happening or the other shoe's dropping. So can you let change be something good and really believe that change is always for the better, that change always works in your favor? Really change that narrative in your mind. Pull you a feather card, Scorpio. So the flicker wanted to come through. I love the flicker's feather. New rhythms are coming into your life now. I wasn't able to quite get it into words, but I was just like feeling all of that, channeling all of this like rhythmic flow, water movements. Like there's like such this download for you about water flowing, moving. Maybe there's a creek near you where you can put a tube, an inner tube on it and like float down the creek, or maybe there's flowing water near you or a waterfall. Maybe you can go rafting, something to that. Maybe it's more showers or salt baths, etc. And anyway, so new rhythms are coming into your life now. You are encouraged to trust and adapt. So again, you got the changes card before this flicker card. So realizing that changes are okay, that they're safe, that they're good, and they can mean really amazing things. But it's how you narrate it in your mind. If you have the subconscious belief running in your programming that changes mean something negative, then that can freak you out and not allow you to adapt and to trust. And so really looking at your deep subconscious programming, we do that deprogramming and reprogramming to what we want it to be in our subconscious in She Alchemy, and also in one-to-one coaching. So encourage you to check that out. Let's see. All right, Scorpio, take good care. Sagittarius, this eclipse is happening for you in your 12th house, and is what's happening here? Aha. And your 12th house, 6th house axis. And I'm sorry, I'm like in 3 dimensions right now. Okay, let me get back here. Where am I at? Okay. Sag. All right. This eclipse for you is in your 12th house, which is the dimensions. It is the other realms. It is psychic energy and psychic abuse and past lives, and it is moving through the past and its completions and endings. And so not only is it a lunar eclipse about cutting away and endings ruled by Mars and Pluto, about metamorphosis and the butterfly, and cutting away from what no longer is helping you to grow or evolve, or that you just don't like, simply, to make it super simple, Taurus. And it's the 12th house of completions. It's the end of things, which is a new beginning, which can look scary and frightening, or you don't know what is coming, you don't know what it'll look like. But let yourself not know what it will look like, because that's the only way it's going to be something new and different, and that can be enlivening, if you let it be. So then if it is triggering your security, your sense of feeling safe, then why? And really go in and do that self-inquiry, because that's going to illuminate so much and clear out a lot of shadow and shit that's limiting and blocking you from the greater vision that you have as a Sag. And this Mars in your 8th house cutting away from old sexual interference, abuses, not having your own back sexually, because the thing about sex is that it's related to the very essence of self, to birth, to creativity, to all of life. It's the death rebirth cycle, and it's the retaining of our life force energy. So do you use sex to retain your life force energy and to infuse it and strengthen it? Or how are you using it? Is it being used upon you? But also use that as a metaphor for the other areas of your life and interactions with people on all levels that will really help you in cutting away from all those old abuses, manipulations, you know, the entrancement, the being being brainwashed, all the conditioning and programming. Pluto here in your third house of mindset, it's like reclaiming your power of your own mind to think for yourself, not thinking based upon somebody else's values, what somebody else says, somebody else's leadership, somebody else's expertise, somebody else's something. Thinking for yourself, like, are you standing within your own way of living your life, your own north star? Where's your north star in this life? And it's obviously your Pluto polarity point, and you know what the configuration of your nodes and any missteps and things in your evolutionary natal chart. So, you know, are you following your astrology? Are you following your own astrology that is the map of this incarnation, of your soul's journey through this incarnation? It's giving you everything you need to know how to consciously work with what you need to do in this life to invoke your vision and to have the life of your dreams, to have the life that's enjoyable and wonderful. And this square to the past from Pluto is challenging. It's challenging you to face all of the shadow and the stuff that you're leaving behind. It's challenging you to complete and to stop going into the same old messes over and over. And it's challenging you to find the simplicity in your day-to-day world in self-mastery, to not make it the Virgo chaos of details, but rather the simplicity of self-sufficiency in Taurus, and really simple way of life, understanding that in your day-to-day life right now and in your day-to-day work that there can be reversals, things unexpected. Uranus is there, so not really knowing for sure how things will shake out until a couple weeks after this eclipse for sure. This trine to Neptune and your fourth house of self-identity, cutting away from old senses of yourself that just don't allow you into the next level of confidence, revenue, visibility, and happiness and joy. This is a really big eclipse for you, Sag. This isn't really anything small here. Not that it is for anybody. It's been very acute eclipse season. So pull you some cards, Sag. Integrate your knowing with the fox spirit, so that feminine, so it's that feminine genius within, like, and so it's like all the data you've taken in, all of the things you've learned, and really being able to actualize it in your life, to applicationally use it within your day-to-day life. Use what you know, act upon it, bring your feminine genius forward and act from that. Stop looking outside yourself, Sag. You are epic. Like, do you believe it? It's in a self-care message. So it's saying, no, you don't. Saying you're having doubts, that you're not, don't think you're worthy. You need to do belief reprogramming work. It's the easiest method. It works. It takes 3 to 2 weeks to change a belief. And depending on some other things that might be going on, but it's incredibly powerful, works. And, you know, do you believe in yourself? Are you your own loving mirror? Are you your own believing eyes? Do you honor yourself? Do you talk good things about yourself? Are you letting your brain sit there and say shitty shit about you? Success or anybody else, success and transformation. So it's saying if you go for it and you work with it consciously, you are going to have success. You are going to move into new powerful waters. And your soul shines, all upright cards. So it's like really understanding that your light shines through and powerfully offers the world this light, and is so important. And so can you come out of all that darkness into the light, Sag? Raw intention is the key. So really being connected to the essence. What's the essence I wouldn't put it into an exact form. What is the essence of that form, which is emotions? So what are the emotions that you're really wanting? And the flicker came up for you too. New rhythms are coming into your life now. You are encouraged to trust and adapt. These cards never fly out. So this card was just right there. And trusting in the rhythms and the flow, trusting and your ability to adapt. You're encouraged to let go, to work with the changes consciously. Again, remember what I said in the very beginning, you're not going to know how it looks, the new life, the new world, the new project, and not knowing the territory is what you want, because that means it's actually new. So the parrot means your mind. You got to work on your mind. So let go of others' thoughts and opinions. It is time to embrace who you really are. Very clear message. Hope you can hear that, Sag. All right, Capricorn. This eclipse for you is in your 11th house, 11th, 5th axis, axes, whatever it is. And it's about your, this is so much about groups. It's about bringing your gifts to the world. It's about standing in your power, this sense of higher truth, the sense of being in the world amongst the people, and as a humanitarian, a sacred activist. So it's a completion and a culmination of all that is not letting you be that is all of the old maladaptations or abuses, the limitations of blocks, cutting away from people that can't see that, aren't supporting you, aren't uplifting you, things that are stopping you or in your way. Mars a trine to cut away from relationships. Exactly what I was just saying. And this Pluto in the second house with the square is saying to that there is some challenge to reclaim your power of the value of yourself, reclaim your power of your self-sufficiency. Having self-sufficiency and being self-sustainable means that you do it on your own without help from other people, which can feel lonely or lost or scared, or you don't know what's doing because all of the you feel rudderless, all of the guideposts and the lines to color in between evaporate, and suddenly it's like, how do I do this? I don't know. And you have to find your own way through that. But how do you ever know your own resourcefulness and your own self-sufficiency if you don't ever go through that process? And so that's what this is really saying, of this reclamation of power here, that you really are powerful, but it may feel hard. It may feel challenging to reclaim your power in this way with the sun and Mercury in the 5th house. It's really filtering through lots of insights and understandings of why you haven't been able to stand on stage in your life, or what were the challenges with it, and being able to step onto the stage. But really being in that Taurus self-sufficiency and simplicity, it's like believing in yourself is such a massive part of it. With Neptune in your 3rd of your mindset, trying to Mars, cutting away from, just thinking that is not serving you, that's not believing in you, that's not allowing you to stand on stage in your life. So Saturn here is dissolving old ways of thinking, old patterns. So this could be really useful, but it could also feel like you can't grab a hold of some idea to run with. So that might be something that you're kind of dealing with. So this is really a rebirth of standing in the world in a greater way. And this North Node been going through your 5th here, has been activating you of being self-possessed, self-composed, that energy of being the one that shines, the one that's predictable. The sun, it goes up, it hits a peak and it comes down, same spot every day, or the moon's really changeable and could be in the sky during the day and come up whenever. And, so it's like, it's this 5th house of mastery, of completeness, of self-possession, of this fixed self within yourself that can stand on stage. And it's opposite this eclipse. So cutting away from everything that's not allowing for that. Mars is helping, and Pluto is churning up and purging and definitely acute there, challenging there. So creator alchemy, remembering you're a manifestor, remembering you're creating this life. So remember that you get to make art of this life, which means that you get to invoke the way you want to feel, the things you can control. Look at everything you can control and everything you can't, and get busy controlling the things you can. Small wins, give yourself small wins, take small steps. Small steps are big steps. Small steps are calculated, curated, and are actually big steps. So realize a dozen small steps rather than one big out of control lopsided step is massively going to be way forward than that one big step. I don't know how to speak English. Light and the unexpected. So Capricorn, just realize there's that crack through the darkness, that there's light and magic, and there's magic afoot. There's light around the corner. There's always the good, if you can have the eyes to see it, if you can be open to like, where's the good in this? What's the outcome for me? What do I get out of this? How can I use this? How can I alchemize this to my benefit? So any of the difficulty coming up, how can you alchemize it to your benefit? You're too much in your head. You got the now card and a self-care message saying that you're too much in your head. You're not in the present time right now. You're not in the present moment. And that, that Neptune in your third house, it's the eternal now. So it's like, can you be in the consciousness that's not always looking the past, the future, all around, bopping around, but actually moment to moment, moment to moment, moment to moment. My meditation teacher used to say, anicca, anicca, anicca. It's moment to moment. Life is moment to moment, and life's full of that Pisces paradox. Let yourself allow for the paradox, figure for the paradox, calculate for the paradox, because it's just a part of it. So what does your soul say? It's in a protection message, is that you're not consulting your soul, your heart, the feminine, where the answers are. The answers are not in your mind, Capricorn. They're not in your mind. This card wants to come forward. The parrots. Let go of others' thoughts and opinions. It is time to embrace who you really are. So all those thoughts of other people swirling around your head is keeping you from really knowing what the hell you think about things. The Pelican, choose to follow the path of forgiveness and raise your vibration. So it's letting old resentments go, meaning that you have to feel the resentment, identify that where the resentment is, and release the emotion of resentment. There's actually a technique to do this, not a special button you push. It's easy to say, but there's a technique to actually release resentment. I teach that in She Alchemy and one-to-one coaching. So also the Pelican card was saying, forgiveness, it's about healing. So if you want to, I don't do forgiveness, but if you heal, forgiveness is moot. So go in and see where that healing is. Wherever you're triggered, that's where that's where you go in and do the healing. All right, Cap, you got this. You can do it. All right. I don't like that color. Let's try this. Aquarius. So Pluto being in your sign lately, how is that going? All right. Moon is in your 10th, and the sun opposite in the 4th. And so it's very much about a completion in where you stood within yourself and within your business before now. So there's been culmination, endings, changes. You've been dealing with things in your business, projects changing, employees changing, you leaving, moving, all these different shifts and changes. And maybe it's just within your own consciousness, your own psyche, soul. And so it's a completion. It's a culmination of this old energy, this old identity that's not you anymore. And this Mars is cutting away from that way you did your day-to-day life, the way you scheduled, the way you routined, your lifestyle, your life force energy, cutting away from it being based upon what society said is the way you do it, what family or other people, and it's time to invoke something that's not from the patriarchy, not from the industrial fascist, but from within your soul, which means a reclamation, feeling emotions, and maybe doing things really, really differently. That Lilith maybe takes doing some sacred rage practice as well. Pluto in your first square to the nodes is offering you that, you know, there's a reclamation of power here, and how you identify yourself, how you stand in the world, your sense of power, how you handle threat or anxiety, and to stand up within yourself. And it is asking you to bring some simplicity to how you see yourself. It's asking you to bring some simplicity to your roots, your foundation, your sense of security, and that not based upon having the right drink at the right time, the right outfit, and folded just so, and everything just perfectly aligned, but a sense of security within yourself based on emotional mastery, based on being able to feel anything on the spectrum of emotions, and allowing for emotions to be okay, not to in the cerebral Aquarius mind, but allowing for yourself to feel. And that might mean facing traumas, facing wounds and issues. And so cutting away from everything you thought about business that isn't serving you anyway. And so this is a metamorphosis for you in business, this moon, this eclipse. And again, it could be all of these shifts and changes. This trine, it's a Neptune, that collective consciousness in your second house of how you value yourself and what's that based upon. So this is an upgrade and a chance to dissolve any of the old things that just don't value you any longer, changing your beliefs, Jupiter, and your mindset and the way you think about things, and really seeing yourself clearly. So it's like questioning your mind and all the things that it's up to that aren't serving your highest. That's thinking you into back alleys and dark corners instead of lifting you up, believing in you and believing in what's possible, and your healing, and having just simple Taurus and the fourth answers to your sense of security, healing, feeling emotions, nature, root veg, salt bath, things that support you and nurture you, creative outlets, dancing, flowing, chanting, being with amazing people, and really allowing yourself to go through this completion time. There will be lots of reversals and the unexpected when it comes to family and home. And let's pull you some cards, Aquarius, to see some deeper themes. Fearless expression. So what is the fear? So if you're not doing that, then where's the fear coming from and why? That's what you have to go into, because fear, you either have to just do the thing that you're afraid of, or you have to unpack it mentally. Those are the two ways to handle fear and knock it out, or it's trauma and you need to regulate your nervous system. So make sure you're regulating your nervous system. Do you have somatic exercises that really do work? And are you doing that to support yourself? Overrate your intuition. So when you get that intuitive hit, go do it immediately. Don't think. Don't be in the cerebral Aquarius thinking up and around and down in 3D. Just action, intuition, action, intuition, action. Follow your intuition. Trust that to guide you and lead you to the right place. There's something about status, and this eclipse for you is cutting away from the old ways that you saw status, that you thought that you get status, have status in life. Think about yourself in the greater whole of the world or your community or your area, because it's in your 10th house, and it's how others see us, how the world sees us. What is our prestige? What is our status in our state in society? And we have to realize that was all based on patriarchy. So are you basing status upon something of soul, something of meaning, something that maybe like status becomes moot, because it's like what the fuck is status anyways? It's just some fake false thing, unless you're trying to pull strings of control and dominate other people and win some fake competition that doesn't really exist, and have and so it's like, what is that all about? What competition are you in your head that's not actually happening? And you can just completely resolve that in your life. Choose who you are becoming. So just what I was saying, like, choose who you want to be in the world. And people are going to say whatever they're going to say about you. Doesn't it's just you know, when you know who you are and you're anchored within that, it doesn't matter what anybody else says. You know who you are, period. You know what you do and don't do and have done, etc. Change maker, make waves, and a protection message. So it's saying that you are afraid to make waves. You're afraid to say what you really think, what you really feel, your yes and no, and to own it and claim it. That's going to mean that you don't take up space in the world. That's going to mean that you get walked on and get into situations that you don't want to be in because you're not saying your no very clearly. And also not your yes too, not asking to receive what you want to receive in this life. Balance and a protection message. So, realizing that balance is constant course corrections. Balance is not equality. That balance is when you feel solid within yourself. So what creates that for you? That's the important question there. So lots about owning your voice, self-care message, your sense of status in the world and how that's changing. You got Raven. The universe is calling you to notice important synchronicities, Aquarius. So are you ignoring them and in your head too much? I'm gonna pull you another card. Looks like this is a little bit of a challenging time for you. Vulture. Vulture is amazing because it takes the poop of the world and makes it into something beautiful. That's not quite right, Vulture. It cleans up, there we go. It cleans up all the poop and the carcasses and the dead rotting flesh of the world, and it uses it for food. It's actually something that it wants to eat, and so it cleans up the world. So we have this natural sustaining world that cleans its own self up. It's like a cat, it cleans itself. So it's like the vulture is such an amazing harbinger of good, because it's like realizing the interconnectedness of all things, that everything takes care of itself if it's in balance. You got the balance card, in right relationship, in harmony, etc. So accept the inevitable of death and loss and pain. Let go of the past and welcome a rebirth to begin, Aquarius. So hope that helps you. All right. It's so funny. All right, Pisces. So Pisces, this eclipse is happening for you in your ninth house of your philosophies, your ideas about life, your greater metaphysical understandings, the higher truths, your connectedness to all that is, your ability to bust through ignorance because you have expanded into other possibilities of beliefs, ideas about life, and so forth. And so this is a completion in the things just that don't serve you, that you're cutting away from old ideas. This is a completion to any problems that you had with stepping into your expertise, stepping into your power as a teacher, as one espousing philosophical ideas in this world and leading this world, divine feminine soulpreneur. So really cutting away from old limitations and blocks in this realm, abuses, manipulations, things that were stopping you and fucked up. And so this Mars here conjunct Lilith and Pluto's North Node in Cancer is trine this eclipse, saying cutting away from what is stopping you from standing on stage, cutting away from what doesn't nurture your sense of being self-possessed, confident, feeling complete within yourself, whole, able to stand on stage and be an expert in your business, in this world, shining your light, being that light bearer. With Apollon here conjunct the South Node, you are the light bearer and standing on stage of philosophy, metaphysical ideas, of new truths and thoughts, and a paradigm shifter and a leader in the world. And so can you cut away from the things that have prevented you from standing on stage in your life in all of the different areas, from believing yourself, confidence? What is standing in the way of confidence? Energetic work helps. There's so many techniques that really help and that are effective for this. We do this in She Alchemy. Also realizing that we're retrieving the lost feminine here. There might be anger or release or emotions churning up that you are moving through and releasing that have been preventing you from being able to stand on stage, and you're doing that now. This sextile to Venus in the fourth of a new sense of self-identity, but one that's always evolving and changing with that Gemini, and the ability that you have to embrace so many different areas of life. Your belief systems are changing in how you value yourself, and therefore that is changing your value and your self-identity, how you're oriented in your self-identity, the value of yourself. And this is going to change so much in your life. Pluto here, a reclamation of power in the dimensions and the higher realms and psychic gifts and abilities, and from past lives, from abuses and atrocities and trespasses of soul from past lives. So it's a reclamation of your power from past lives, of your power from the traumas and the difficulties and hurts, pain, and loss that you've been through, or from the abuses of other people in this life. Square the nodes, meaning that you are like metamorphosing out of who you were from those abuses and difficulties that you've went through, and now you're metamorphosing into that beautiful butterfly and this new self. This north node in the third, way to think about yourself and to communicate, that it has the simplicity to it that is based upon self-sufficiency, based upon you knowing the resourcefulness of you, who you are, valuing yourself at the highest levels. Like, do you think of yourself as that it's a privilege to know you, and to really be at this higher echelon of belief and positive expectation in yourself. The Mercury here is moving over lots of insights and epiphanies of helping you to really claim this new orientation to valuing yourselves at the highest level, of not hoping and wishing for other people to love you or like you, not scraping and scrounging or orientating yourself in a way of like of trying to get, but instead of standing in this I am value sense, the sense of just, no, I am valuable, I am remarkable, amazing, fill in the blank with all the things. And so this is massively, basically, Pisces, all about standing in a new sense of self-power, self-worth, confidence, belief in yourself, and so on. It's a really powerful eclipse for you. Lots of insights and epiphanies have come in. I'm sure lots of endings and shifts, and soul on fire. So what is stopping you from being a soul on fire? And what lights you up? What sparks that soul on fire for you? That just drive and inspiration and invigoration and life force energy, that power, that happiness and joy. Overthinking can spoil the magic. Well, we answered that question. So how can you get out of your head and into your body, into the flow, into the creativity? Fierce serenity. So it's like the message was just like, it's a self-protection, it's a self-care message. So it was just came through so clearly of like protecting your serenity, protecting your creativity, protecting the things that feed your artistry, your light, your creativity, your abundance, your joy. And it was just like such a powerful download. Like all of a sudden when I saw this card, it was just like protection, fierce protection of what keeps you inspired, happy, joyful, in love with life, soul on fire. Welcome the divine masculine in a protection message, meaning that there may be some healing to do around that, and around any sort of toxic masculine ways of doing business or being orientated in the world or from other people. And so definitely look into any areas of healing you feel called in that direction. Rise again in a self-care message. So you're getting some self-care messages that there's a lot of self-doubt. Realize that that's something that you can release. It's something you can work with. We do that in She Alchemy and one-to-one coaching. So you can inquire about that on thegoddessastrologer.com. And so it's about releasing the insecurities and the things that are causing you to self-doubt. How can you step into that next level and next level of belief in yourself, confidence, and being a soul on fire, being inspired? The sacred flow of yes, again, in a protection message, that there's some resistance to going towards happiness, some block, some issue. And so I would recommend energetic work, Reiki, access consciousness, doing different clearings. There's so much energetic work that really doesn't have an official name, but so powerful. Talk with your guides, get direction on how to remove these blocks of being able to flow with that orange joy, passion, enthusiasm, fun, spark, just inspiration, fire, delight towards being a soul on fire. Like, this is a really interesting reading for you, where there's these esoteric, nebulous, some sort of block, something, stop, drop, and ground. So like, there's something about what's making you feel unmoored and ungrounded, and like, how can there be something in your day that is some sort of grounding sense that allows you to be a soul on fire and creative. There's something I'm just not quite getting to. Maybe one of the feather cards will help. The edge of evolution feels messy, and so it's really suggesting that there can be this feeling of disbursement, everything falling apart, the tower, and yet it's like, no, you're just at the edge of evolution, because if it wasn't something new, it wouldn't be unknown. So the unknown is the new and the good, and you've got to narrate it that way in your mind. Overrate your intuition. So really, like, listening inward, asking inward. Are you asking inward and listening inward, moment to moment, and going off, like, being conscious each moment and working from that way in life? Choose who you are becoming. And so that, I was talking about it in the astrology of really like you decide how you orientate yourself within yourself. Look at how you've been orientated. Like, is it to someone else's belief system, to something you've been trying to hope for, to get somewhere you've been trying to reach? And you choose, like, how you want to be seen in the world. Now, you can't control how other people see you, but you choose how you want to be seen in the world, because that's how you then show up, and then choose to show up that way. And who cares what the fuck other people think or do? And change maker, make waves, and a protection message. So it's saying that you're not quite getting yourself like really out there in the bigger way that you could, which means hopping over a little bit of a fear hurdle. And it's just really about doing it. Peacock. So this card is so amazing. It's about the Phoenix rising. It's about alchemizing the poison into the beauty of the feathers and the plumage on the peacock. Inherent wisdom is emerging at this time. Watch it and ready yourself for a rebirth. What did I say? The Phoenix rising from the ashes. So really powerful card. And I'll leave it at that, Pisces, because you just got such such a beautiful reading. Really pulled you a lot of cards here. You also got Crane. You will soon enter into a beneficial partnership. Luck and longevity bless this union. So the Crane card, I guess it wasn't the last card. More from day one. All right, y'all. So I hope this was magical and amazing for you. I hope this really helped you. This eclipse time has been very acute, sharp, and powerful endings and beginnings, and kind of not knowing quite where we're going to end up really yet until the end, until we pop out the other side of this eclipse tunnel. That Aries eclipse was so massive, and it was just really like going through some sort of plastic wrap was removed. So weird. And if you liked this video, got anything out of it, please share this with your friends, send it off to somebody that could really benefit from getting their sun sign horoscope. And I appreciate you so much. I will see you on the next moon video. And if you'd like to book an astrology reading, I have a really once in a lifetime offering I'm doing, because I'm doing astrological research. You get to pick your price anywhere from $55 to $297. The caveat is please pay as close to my normal price of $297 as you can, because I do put all the love, time, and energy into it no matter what you pay. But I want people that really legitimately do not have the money to be able to pick their price and get a reading and work with your power, which is your astrology chart. Sending you so much love, and you can book a reading on thegoddessastrologer.com. Talk to you soon.